miles around this 1 mile track, and better than 110,000 on hand as Matt Kenseth, the championship leader, starts deep in the field in 37th. Ryan Newman going to lead lap 1. Second place, Jimmy Johnson trying to look underneath his teammate, Brian Vickers.
And I tell you, Brian Vickers, the 25 car, almost got the outside retaining wall coming off turn 4.
Ooh, this is tight. 3 abreast, down to 2. And this gets real tight right here at this dog leg.
Kurt Busch having to give way.
Yeah.
A smart move there. Rusty Wallace and Tony Stewart side by side. That'll be for 5th and 6th. And up front, Jimmy Johnson for the race lead. Got it.
And remember, Jimmy Johnson in this 48 car won both races at Loudon, New Hampshire this year. A track, 1 mile racetrack similar to Phoenix.
Yeah, you see the banking on this place, but believe me, when you're sitting in one of these race cars, this is a flat racetrack, especially this corner down here, 3 and 4, very flat. The cars slide a lot. You really have to work the throttle. You can't just nail the gas. You have to keep playing with the throttle because a lot of cars will push off of turn 4.
Driver 8 to 8th place as Junior gets in front of Dave Blaney for that spot. That's Kevin Harvick, 3rd place man in the championship, working underneath Casey Mears in the 41. That's back for 11th and 12th. And for 2nd place, Brian Vickers trying to get by pole sitter Ryan Newman.
Kind of unusual for Newman. He looks like he might be struggling a little bit here.
When I talked to Matt Borland, the crew chief on this 12 car this morning, I asked how the car was. He said, okay, which meant he may slide back a few spots. Marty?
BP on lap 2, Ryan came on the radio and said, car's loose. Lap 3 said it's really loose, but we saw that be a benefit to teams yesterday in the Busch Series race. They started loose. This racetrack gets tighter the longer you run. That may play their hand later in the run.
Well, Wally Benny, let's talk about the difference in weather conditions from yesterday to today and how much that might affect the way these cars perform.
It could be big, but a lot of teams came here and tested. And you know what, Wally, the temperature when they tested, 100 degrees. Yeah. So they might go back to some of that setup.
But the guys that have not tested, they're relying on happy hour where it's a lot cooler, so there's a lot of guessing.
Jeff Gordon going for the three-peat after winning at Martinsville in Atlanta. And now he's going for 3rd spot on Ryan Newman, Dave.
And keep an eye on where his car is best. Through the middle of the corner. Robbie Lewis's crew chief told me this morning the car cuts really, really good. And even though Jeff complained about needing a little bit more drive off the corner, that cut through the middle sets up the drive off and allows him to really hit it straight coming off the corner. So Jeff's car, very good this weekend.
Yeah, I spoke with Robbie Lewis this morning, the crew chief of the 24 car, and he was pretty happy this morning. They were real happy with that 24 car. And when he says cut through the center, that means it rolls through the center. It doesn't push or slide the nose. It really turns well. Got a car that does that here at Phoenix. You're in good shape.
Tony Stewart's car apparently doing that. He's to 4th place now. He got by Ryan Newman. And now Dale Earnhardt Jr. challenging the 12 there for 5th. Junior started 11th. Matty, how about Tony Stewart's car?
Quickly moving to the front, qualified 6th. A lot of changes on that Home Depot Chevrolet this morning. Greg Zippadelli, Dave Rogers, the engineer, Doctor Who, the shop specialist, and Scott Deal, the car chief, pooling their thoughts on what to do to fix this car. It was tight in the middle and snapping loose with no forward bite off. They changed just about everything. Rear springs, sway bar, track bar, wedge. Tony hasn't said one word on the radio, which is a good sign. Those changes have improved the car.
And BP, you talked about the testing. Those were one of the guys that were testing here when it was hot.
And I talked to Greg Zippadelli, the crew chief, on the 20 car this morning. And they worked so hard on the car yesterday trying to find the handle and trying to get the 20 car to handle. They did not get a chance to scuff any tires in. A lot of these teams put a couple of laps on the tires before changing them. The 20 car, remember at Dover, he complained about a bad set of tires, the tires that did not match up. He did not get to test those tires yesterday because of the work.
So they were scuffing them to try to eliminate a bad set,
exactly.
Not so much to help the handling.
Exactly.
So Tony Stewart running in 5th, and now the race side by side behind them. Kurt Busch now the one to work on pole sitter Ryan Newman. 97 car started in 7th place. And I've been watching Kurt last couple laps around. You can see the driver's gloves inside his window when his car comes off turn 4. He's turning that wheel back to the right a little bit and then back to the left. So he's fighting a little bit of a handling problem in that car.
Well, he's probably tight in the center, and then it's snapping loose off.
Jimmy Johnson, the leader, Bill.
Well, Alan, Jimmy Johnson didn't test here at Phoenix, but the 2 cars behind him did. The 25 with Brian Vickers and the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Crew Chief Chad Canals for Johnson's team told me those 2 teams helping them, those 2 teams testing helped the 48 team quite a bit. Right now, Johnson's car is just a little bit loose, but Chad told him, save your stuff. Your laps are great.
So Jimmy Johnson going to lead the conclusion of lap 12 and beginning of lap 13. Pay attention to who's leading at lap 50 today. You could win a trip to New York City and work as a special correspondent at this December's Winston Cup Awards ceremony. It's the NASCAR Big Apple Sweepstakes. And remember, lap 50.
Like you said, Kurt Busch got real loose trying to get underneath Ryan Newman, and that little bit.
That was a couple of cars that didn't make it to lap 50.
Those hands were really busy. Yeah. So Jimmy Johnson leads. We'll take a break here. Remember, if anything happens, we'll break out right away and bring you back here to Phoenix Live.
Introducing a whole new line of over 30 power tools from Rigid that'll seriously outperform what you're using now. With exact line laser precision, batteries that charge in half the time, more torque, and the best warranty in the business. But the attachment that says the most about these tools? The pros who swear by them. Rigid, powerful, durable, professional. Buy them now at the Home Depot.
I know a little something about making good moves.
Make your move. Talk to your doctor about Viagra today.
To learn more, race over to Viagra.com.
I received this wedding gift from my husband's aunt, but I don't need a monkey lamp. I was extremely torn. I didn't know whether I should just keep the lamp or return it and risk hurting her feelings. So I asked myself, what would Jared do?
I would return the lamp. She really just wants you to be happy. Then I'd get a red wine vinaigrette club.
So, where's the lamp?
The Red Wine Vinaigrette Club from Subway. Eat fresh.
If you've never spent hours trying to shave seconds, never felt like the head of a comet, never ridden in circles to reach a destination, get out of the way. The all-new Suzuki GSX-R 1000.
Advanced Auto Parts. No matter when or where, for the best parts, people and price, we're ready in advance. Yeah, bring it on.
The legendary Fall Classic began back in '65. It's tough, it's fast, it's the Rock, where 11 championships have been decided. 43 drivers all battling to be the final one to win the final race. It's the Rock the House weekend at North Carolina Speedway. Target House 200, Saturday, November 8th. Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400, Sunday, November 9th. Get your tickets now. Call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or log on to NorthCarolinaSpeedway.com. Be there to rock the house.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix on NBC is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes or grab life by the horns. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Subway, good so you don't always have to be. Subway, eat fresh. And by Xbox, this holiday Xbox, it's good to play together.
19 of 312 laps complete here at Phoenix International Raceway. Jimmy Johnson is out in front. He's led all but one of those laps so far. Johnson leading Brian Vickers by 1 1/3 seconds, with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart rounding out the top 5. Those 5 single file. The race from 6th on back continues to be the interesting spot as Kurt Busch continues to try and work Ryan Newman to no success.
He has worked underneath him time and time again. He just can't get that car to fight. He gets too loose when he's up underneath the 12 car of Ryan Newman. Marty, what are they saying on the 12?
Actually, the advice is coming from Roger Penske, and if you're going to get some advice, it's a pretty good guy, but he's put it in football terms. Basically, he said when you're going into the corner where Ryan's not too bad, play offense. But when you're coming off of the corner, play defense, do all you can to block him. That's where Ryan is experiencing the most problems, loose off of the corner.
Let's go on board Kurt Busch.
See what his... trying to get a feel. I mean, obviously he's been loose when he was underneath the car, but that's because you're turning the wheel more in the center of the corner, and you're trying to keep the car off the other car above you, and sometimes the car will get loose in the middle.
And right now he's having trouble closing up on the back bumper of the 12 car.
Put a lot of right wheel in it there, getting off the corner. So.
You see the hand when he's going down the straightaway is up at 12 o'clock, so when it comes back the other side of that 12 o'clock,
he looks like he's pretty good in 1 and 2. It looks like he's having most trouble down at 3 and 4. See, as he enters the corner here, he gets down on the bottom. Watch the steering wheel. Turning it. He's turning it. Didn't get loose that time a little bit.
So Kurt running in 7th and continuing to try and pursue Ryan Newman for the 6th position. Newman 5 8/10 seconds behind leader Jimmy Johnson.
Well, I would say that car, if anything, I may be proven wrong here by one of the pit boys, but that car's probably a little bit tight, and the reason why he's getting loose is because he's got the wheel turned too much.
How about the old Home Depot Virtual Garage? Been throwing the turn loose around an awful lot.
Yeah, you know, when these guys go into the corner in these race cars, they turn the steering wheel. They want all 4 tires to grip the racetrack and just turn and go around the track. When that happens, all 4 tires working together, that's green. But if the rear tires are hotter than the front, what happens is they start sliding, they start losing grip, and the back end starts sliding around, just like you're on ice. Drivers use that term loose to describe that.
And that car can get loose getting in. It can be loose when you're on the gas. There's a lot of different places where the car can get loose.
How about Matt Kenseth? He started 37th. He's up to 30th, Bill. There's the scoring serial on Kenseth. He's kind of in some heavy traffic.
Yeah, it hasn't been very easy. That traffic's been a problem. Here's how it's gone. Matt to Robbie Reiser, arrow tight off the turn. Matt to Robbie Reiser, car was too loose under all those other cars. Matt to Robbie Reiser, car is more loose than tight. It's worse in turns 1 and 2. So I think his car's a little bit loose and a little bit tight, and traffic's a problem.
Well, on that last lap, you could see the car got loose in 3 and 4.
It's the race for 2nd place. If you want to finish that point, just update. This is Junior trying to get by Brian Vickers for the runner-up spot. So Matt Kenseth is fighting.
Yeah, it looks like he was loose. That last time when I saw him when Bill was talking, you could see the front tires turn to the right. So he looks like, I bet you he's on a loose side right now.
He's wrestling it. Yeah, we can say that out in the desert, right? Wrangling it.
Wrestling it.
And that's Mike Wallace, the 09 car. He's going by, moves into the 29th position. Yeah, he's playing with that steering wheel off the corner, trying to keep the car going in a straight line, because if the front slides, the rear slides, that's slowing the car down.
There's a great shot. I might not see it too much here in 1 and 2, but if we can stay on through 3 and 4, I think you'll see him working that steering wheel a little bit more. Here he comes down into turn 3. Pretty smooth so far. Right in the center. Right on the center where he's getting on the gas, it looks like he's having trouble.
There's a little twitch.
Yeah, a little twitch there, just when you're getting on the throttle. So and that little twitch, sorry, that little twitch doesn't look like much. That little twitch doesn't look much. Believe me, that's big. Where he's sitting from.
So Matt Kenseth back in 29th spot now, again after starting in 37th spot. Remember that in this race last year, he started 28th, and he won.
If we check his time, I've looked at the score monitor. The 17 car is running almost as fast as the leader, and he's back in this traffic, and the leader, Jimmy Johnson, out in clear air. So I think if the 17 car gets up with these guys in front, he'll be able to race with them.
Well, last year they took 2 tires. on their last pit stop. It's what got him the track position to get out front. Once he got the clean air, he left. He checked out from the field. So we'll see if Robbie Reiser tries any of those kind of rabbits out of the hat sometime earlier, or later rather, in the race. Bill, how about your leader?
Jimmy Johnson says his car's a little loose off, but obviously that's been good for him so far, trying to dive inside and pick up a lap another car as they continue to make laps here at Phoenix. Currently 4th in the championship standings, only 8 out of 2nd, 3 wins this season. And as we heard in this pre-race conversation on the team radio, this team has not given up.
All right, boys, let's settle in, get ready to rock and roll here. This is a unique place. We only get to come here once a year. So let's leave our mark here so these guys can think about it for the next season. Good run today, buddy. Wear them out.
You got it, bud. Thanks for your support. We're going to go out for one day.
Crew Chief Chad Knaus also serves as head cheerleader. Remember, he's the guy that flew off their pit wagon when his crew guys were hit on pit road. He made sure his guys were okay before he checked the car, then told them, let's come back and win this thing. And they did at New Hampshire.
I also heard the car owner, Rick Hendrick, give his just a couple, hey guys, do well. And that means a lot to these fellas.
32, now 33 laps complete here at Phoenix International Raceway. Jimmy Johnson has led all but one of them. You're watching NASCAR. Oh, got a car up in smoke. Turn 3. It's Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car, and the caution flag is out.
You know, BP, you and I were talking about earlier, there's a lot of gear running in some of these cars. These guys are turning some big RPMs here. I hear 9,500, 9,600 on some of these cars.
97 even, maybe 9,700 RPM, just trying to get that jump off the corner.
And look at the trail of oil behind Mayfield's car, all up in there. So that's a catastrophic failure of some kind for the 19. Like Schrader likes to say, one of those real important parts broke.
Your circle was a failure.
The camera was moving.
You got to keep up the camera.
I tried.
And that oil is
so quick, it's hard, man.
That oil is on the racetrack someplace.
Yeah.
But now then these guys get to come in, make a pit stop, and make adjustments to their cars. And the 17.
I'd be all for trying it. I don't think it's the best thing to do, but if you want to try it, this would be the time of the race to do it, I guess. Whatever all you guys think, we'll just do that. But, you know, if we are going to make a chance at it, you know, 34 laps, first run would probably be a good time to see what it's going to be like for later. But whatever you guys want to do is fine with me.
Pit road is closed.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, guys? Now remember, he's going to come around the 38, and into our stall here. Okay, guys? I'm not trying to talk into anything. I'm just, you know, whatever you want to try. It's probably time to take a good look at it and see what we got here. I mean, the only problem is to go backwards if we get into a long run, but, you know, it might be the time to try it. You know, if we gain 10 or 15 spots here, give us a little cushion at least in case we get another 30 laps in a caution. 10-4.
My MOS is 51 Tango. It is technically...
Was you hitting the chip at all that run?
None at all.
All right.
Still closed, Junior. Who blew up? 19.
We'll have some jet dryers up against the wall just past the dog leg up here, Mike. it's been running? I'm going to say probably 230, 235. Or this piece of paper on the top grill right now we're going to have to get. Something like that during the, while you're running?
NBC tonight.
NASCAR on NBC from... when Jeremy Mayfield's car lost an engine and dropped oil on the racetrack. Pit road not yet open, so let's take a flashback with our NASCAR Busch Series update. Bobby Hamilton Jr. won a rain-delayed and rain-shortened race. Yes, rain here in Phoenix. His series-leading 4th win of the season. He outran Kevin Harvick, among others, to score the victory. Championship standings with another shuffle. You see Ron Hornaday, Brian Vickers, championship contenders with top 5 finishes, but David Green finished well down in 14th place. So now Riggs, the new leader, 60 points to 5th place, 2 races to go. Rockingham next Saturday on TNT. Craftsman Truck Series raced Friday here in Phoenix. Kevin Harvick outlasted Ted Musgrave for the win. Brendan Gaughan, the championship leader, had late engine troubles and finished 12th. So 39 points, 1st to 4th for the Craftsman Truck Series. 1 race to go. Part of Ford Championship weekend a few weeks from now in Homestead, Florida.
Man, what a weekend that's going to be. Oh. Those truck guys got to go 2 weeks trying to get ready. Sweat it out, make sure that nothing breaks.
Talked about Rockingham. We checked our Wendy's race menu. The NASCAR Busch Series action will be on TNT Saturday. Then we follow the race for the Winston Cup Championship next Sunday on TNT, 12:30 Eastern Time. We start with Discover Card Countdown to Green. Then the season finale, Homestead, Florida, NBC, November 16th, noon Eastern Time. The high banks of Homestead, we can say now. Yeah. Talk about that a little bit later in the broadcast, but a few guys doing a Goodyear tire test there this weekend with generally favorable remarks on the new 18, 19, and 20-degree banking. Pit road's going to be open this time. Bill?
Jimmy Johnson will lead them down pit road. His car is a little loose off, but he wants them to free it up a little bit more. They're going to do that with air pressure and a slight wedge adjustment. He has it easy out, but his crew chief Chad Knaus warned him, a lot of cars on the lead lap here, so be very careful when you leave pit road. Johnson heads for his pits now. 4 tires, fuel, air pressure, and a wedge adjustment to Dave.
Gas man Jeff Craven is going to stick a wedge wrench in Jeff's car, make an adjustment, and then grab the fuel can. They'll also make a track bar, another wedge adjustment on the right side. The car tied in, dead sideways off loose off the corner. Matt?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. stops a little short in his box for an easy exit around the 43. He said the car was a little slick on that run. He couldn't get up off the corner like he liked. Loose in, snug, and loose off, but just like he likes it. Junior's down and away. Marty?
Pole sitter Ryan Newman now 6. Matt on pit road. He describes it as 4 loose off of turn 4, 1/2 loose off of turn 2, 2 rounds down on the left rear wedge bolt. And Newman with that first pit stall, I think he won the race off pit road.
No. Somebody got out about 3, 4, 5 seconds ahead of him, Marty. I believe Kurt Busch just got 2 tires because he's gone. And I also know that Matt Kenseth, the championship leader, just took 2 right side tires, Bill.
You're exactly right. It is 2 right side tires for the 17 of Matt Kenseth. They said they wanted to try this early in the race to see how the car would handle, but it did not work for Kenseth yesterday in the Busch race. This morning, Robbie Reiser told me he didn't think they would try it, but they were forced to, Dave.
The 97 car of Kurt Busch was very, very loose. They wanted to get spring rubbers out of that right rear and also only change 2 right side tires. That's what they did. Speedy off pit road.
Ricky Craven is not pitted yet, so he's the leader. Kurt Busch first off the pit lane. He's second. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
We didn't just give the new Ford F-150 more horsepower. We gave it the most low-end torque. Why did we push farther than anyone else? So you could do more than anyone else. Only this truck earned the right to be the next F-150. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
When I need to get serious, I get back to basics. And when I'm looking for a serious boost of energy, I need to feel the sting.
For an extreme boost of energy in 3 great flavors, you've got to feel the sting. YJ Stinger, made exclusively by the manufacturers of Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner.
Feel the sting.
Meet rookie Jamie McMurray and this.
It's 800 horsepower V8 monster protected by Haviland motor oil. Because Haviland can handle this much power.
Even if your TV can't. Haviland.
Sorry. You want to know why I rent from Enterprise? Because having the right car can make all the difference.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
People are strange, they'll surprise you. Looks can be deceiving, in fact I found true. I stare all day, people watching's key. But wait a second, they're checking me. So what if my McGriddles get some looks? It's like... Get here.
You are watching the Checker Auto Parts 500 from Phoenix International Raceway on NASCAR In-Car on In Demand.
Off, come the screen, get ready. Green. Corner, inside. Inside.
time to get it back to pit road and filled up and back out and caught up. He wound up finishing 5th in a race where he led almost a third of the distance, actually a little over a third of the distance.
They came here Friday morning with a different setup than last year, trying to get better, and the car was junk, so they finally just took all that stuff out, put the same setup they had last year under this car, and looks to me like Tony Eury Jr. and Senior, Junior, all these guys made the right decision. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, very good.
Going for second here on Newman.
And Newman didn't give him much room there. Pinched him down.
Of course, now, the end of last week's Atlanta race, 5 laps to go. Remember, these two tangled, racing for 6th position, wound up with Newman in the wall, and pretty hot and pretty angry about it. Now here they are all over each other again early at Phoenix. So when you talk about Newman holding Junior down, you think that's on his mind?
Yeah, he's not going to give Junior too much room, because he feels like that the 8 car can't afford to go up there and hit him again and crash him, so he's just not going to give him a lot of room.
Kurt Busch has just led lap 50. You need to know that information to enter to win a trip to this year's Winston Cup Award ceremony, where you could serve as a special correspondent. It's the NASCAR Big Apple Sweepstakes on NBCSports.com or NASCAR.com for rules and your chance to register.
Junior started the slide job on him, but he had to jump out of the throttle or he was going to slide into the 12.
Oh, some contact there.
Did he get that right front fender on Junior's car enough to damage it? I think there's a little dent there.
I do too, and these cars.
Oh, did he
pay him back?
Yeah.
And now Junior's getting a challenge from Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car.
And BP alluded to it earlier. Aero is important here. I mean, as much tape as you can run on the front of these cars helps pin the front of these cars. So that little damage on that fender will affect it. Marty?
Wally, I think that was payback. Ryan came on the radio right after he made a little contact with the 8. And I don't know if we're keeping score or not, but I think we're even.
You talk about downforce. I noticed on the 48 pit stop, they're running a little bit warm in water temperature. Had to take a strip of tape off the grill. And someone told me 15 inches of tape, 1 inch wide, is like 50 pounds of downforce. A ruler, a 1-foot ruler, is like 50 pounds of downforce.
It's really, really affects these cars here. We tried, in fact, yesterday in the Busch race, we didn't even open anything for the brakes because we wanted to have that front of nose closed as much as possible.
And Kurt Busch is loving this. He's pulled away from about almost 2 seconds.
We talked about last week at the end of the Atlanta race with Newman and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Actually, this was Monday. If you didn't catch it, here's what happened. Closing laps, Junior didn't actually hit Ryan until he was sideways, but the whole pack and air under the rear end thing, basically Junior was close enough to Ryan that Ryan felt he got him loose and then hit him.
Well, Junior didn't do anything wrong on that one.
Ryan says
differently.
Oh, of course he does.
And so we get to the carryover week. Wow, Jimmy Johnson with a handful of steering wheel there.
Yes, sir. That's just that strip of tape made a difference on the 48 car, appears to me like.
So this is 4th and 5th spots here with Johnson in 4th, Gordon in 5th, and let's throw Michael Waltrip into this race for position 2 and 6th in the 15 car. Meantime, championship leader Matt Kenseth came off pit road in 14th. Billy's running 17th now.
Yeah, with just the 2 right side tires. And Robbie Reiser told me in the garage this morning they really didn't want to try this strategy because it didn't work for Matt yesterday in the Busch race. So I ran down there and asked him. I said, some guy in the garage told me there's no way they take 2 tires. He goes, sometimes you just got to try it. It's not working out too good for him right now. And the other car that was pitted back there was the 38 of Elliott Sadler, and they did take 4 tires at a very quick stop, and that helped them out as well, Alan.
Okay. Scratch him off the list then. So Elliott Sadler running 15th and Kenseth running in 17th spot as Michael Waltrip takes the long way around.
Just blows by Jeff Gordon on the outside. Well, I say blows by him. Here comes Gordon back, but Michael will take that spot, moves into 5th position.
Remember, Michael had a chance to win the race at New Hampshire back in September. We talked about the similarities between this track and that. Expect a strong run today out of this 15 car. Kurt Busch is the leader. Lap 57 of 312 in the books. It's Ryan Newman and Dale Earnhardt Jr. spicing it up in the early laps.
Subway. It's all right to indulge now and then. Try our delicious...
Place. Kurt Busch out in front, 1.009 seconds over Ryan Newman. Dale Earnhardt Jr. closing in on Newman.
Newman is getting a little bit closer to Kurt Busch, but as Junior gets close to him, now he probably will have to start playing a little bit of defense, and that could cause Kurt Busch to drive away again.
Here we go. For second place.
Get after the gas. Can't get after the gas hard. That's the problem right where Junior was, because if you get on the gas hard where he is, you slide up and hit the 12 car. So you really got to work the throttle. Now you got to clean this time.
This time Ryan Newman cut him a break and said, okay, I'll let you go. Just remember that, will you?
I think he'd like to dog him for a lap or so just to worry.
Not? Now's when the 97 car is going to look up the mirror and go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because I think he's starting to slide around on those tires a little bit more than he'd like to.
You see just that little wrinkle in that right front fender on the 8 car where they made contact before. If you look right down at the bottom when we see it, see that lower side left of the screen.
Tell you what, the way that's wrinkled, that doesn't hurt. It's almost like a little wing out there. Got some front wing in that car, Benny.
A little downforce is good.
See that there?
Yeah.
That acts like a, that's going to actually give that car maybe a little bit more downforce.
And he's lucky that he's got that.
If you could just figure out how to do that this weekend.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes to second place and is about a second and a half behind Kurt Busch. Matt saw Greg Biffle hit the wall a little bit ago. What's up there?
Speaking to Greg this morning, the team felt like that they had a really good race car, and they were very close on where they needed to have that race car for today's event. But Greg said back on lap 57, we just knocked the front end out of it. I hit the wall very hard with that right front, guys.
Yep.
Can't really fix that too much.
No.
And how about our championship leader, Matt Kenseth? He's in 18th place. And looking at the point leader leads us to our Stacker 2 NASCAR Winston Cup track back. Championship leaders finished in the top 10 in 11 of the 15 NASCAR Winston Cup races held here at Phoenix. So it's been a good place for guys trying to win a title. Over the past 5 years, the driver leading the championship coming into this race has finished no worse than 8th.
Did you see McMurray, how much apron he used up in 3 and 4, trying to get that 42 car loosened up and get it to turn?
A little bit of grip down there on the apron. If you can hit the apron and not upset the car to where it really does jump loose.
Normally they just touch the apron. Once McMurray, he simply drives almost entire car over the yellow line.
Just explain that graphic. The numbers in parentheses are where they started the day in the championship standings. So you see that for now, 3rd and 4th places, so close together, have changed as they run on the racetrack. And the gap from 1st to 2nd starting the race was 258 points. Kenseth is running 18th in the race, and Kevin Harvick is running 7th. Dale Jr. is running 2nd.
What, McMurray again, I wonder if his car's tight. That's why he's down on that apron more likely.
That would be my guess.
Haven't talked much Rusty Wallace today. He's trying to take 9th spot away from Brian Vickers there in the 2. Rusty, one of the former winners in this field here at Phoenix, the 98th winner in this race. 4 top 5 finishes in the last 6 years here at Phoenix. So Kurt Busch out in front after 73, now 74 of 312 laps through the field when NASCAR on NBC returns to Phoenix.
now. It's about 15 back to the 8.
Starts Friday, November 14th. Rated PG.
The drama of NASCAR is on TNT. Next weekend, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, and the superstars of NASCAR return.
Still there. Still down there. Still there inside. Still there. Still there. Here clear.
He said nothing bad about the chassis really moving to the front, Bill.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car complaining now his car is tight. That's after they tried to free it up on the last stop. They will add 2 turns in the right rear for their next stop. As for his teammate and co-car owner, Jeff Gordon in the 24 Chevy, Jeff says the car is just way too loose to compete right now. Marty.
Bill, back on lap 30, Kevin Harvick brushed the wall, but not bad at all. Since then, he has said nothing about the chassis. They have been better on the longer runs today, Matt.
Tony Stewart tested here, but fighting the same problem today he's fought all weekend. Tight in the center, free on exit, and absolutely no forward bite. They pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear and made a chassis adjustment. It hasn't helped. Rusty.
Sorry, Matty, up front. Here's Junior for the lead. These big road guys can handle anything. They can come in and out of these through the fields. Let us handle things on the racetrack. Then we can go back to them and get the further updates.
And all the traffic, the piece of debris is gone off the grill of the 97 car. But it probably slowed him down because he lost some of the downforce in the nose when he blew away.
Tell you what, this 97 car on just the right side tires, that's got to be getting some people's attention. Dave?
But the car was real loose, so the debris off ought to balance it out a little bit, right?
Should have helped it, Dave. You're right. But he's getting past once it came off.
So Junior by new leader, first time he's led today. Kurt Busch back to second. And we were going through the field. Matt, you were saying about Mr. Rusty Wallace.
And Mr. Rusty Wallace started fifth, trying to end that 95 race winless streak. Currently runs in the 9th position. The car was tight. They tried working on it with the chassis. He hasn't said a whole lot. If it's improved, his biggest concern, the car is starting to get warm. There is some debris on that grill. Meanwhile, running in the 10th position, Brian Vickers, the young 20-year-old, continues to impress. Trying to do something that Kevin Harvick did back in 2001. Run both the Busch and Winston Cup Series here at the end of 2003. He said the biggest thing, multitasking and time management.
Oh, it's been tough. You know, the time management has been really hard on me. And you know, that is the key, is just figuring out how to fit all of it into the day. I mean, not only the physical part, just from racing both races, racing both practices, qualifying, all that stuff, but just physically, I mean, mentally, just getting it all in the day and making it all work without getting, you know, without losing focus on one side or the other, because we definitely want to keep our focus on the Busch side as well and not lose sight of that championship.
Although physically and mentally a challenge, the on-track experience is helping. The car, the same problem he had yesterday in the Busch Series race. It is starting to get tight from the center off. Bill?
Mac Kenseth in the 17 car, 16th in the order last time by. Took 2 tires on their first stop, and after that 2 tires stop, the car is now just too loose. So they were able to gain track position once they took the 2 tires, but on the track, Matt has not been able to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, but you know, Bill, what I'm thinking here and looking at that is they haven't lost anything really, though, since they took the 2 tires, so it's definitely been a plus for them.
I agree, and I think that this is, Robbie Reiser, as we talked about, said, you have to try it sometime, so let's see if we don't get any worse. And it didn't get any worse. They gained all those positions. Now they're back in the middle of the pack to take 4 next time, have a good stop, see what their guys can do on pit road, see what Matt can do on the track.
And check it out, last lap, he was faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Talking about some guys with some hot dog wrappers or pieces of paper, whatever they might be, on the grill of the car. Ryan Newman has a little piece of stuff in there. Marty?
Yeah, the concern in the 12 pit starting to build. Even since we talked about him and through the field, the temperature has gone up 10 degrees since then. It was 230 at that moment, now 240 in the 12 car for Ryan Newman on the water temperature. He's trying to use lap cars, getting behind them so they can disturb the air. Maybe that'll make the wrapper or whatever it is drop off. But right now, it is causing major problems inside the 12 car.
Well, anytime you get 110,000 people around, they sell concessions, and the wind picks up. Looks like we probably have a 10, 15 mile per hour breeze today. It starts moving those hot dog wrappers, hamburger wrappers around, and bam, they run in the grill of the race car and stay there.
Payback here, pal. You were the one trying to draw on the moving car there, okay?
And you know, Betty, 240 degrees is not going to be good.
No, that's not
going to
real
get
good at all.
Let's go back to the Home Depot Virtual Garage and talk about that tape on the grill of a car and what happens when something plugs up that little opening that exists.
Well, go ahead, BP.
Oh, there you see the air is going through the upper part of the grill, the bottom part of the grill. They tape off the bottom because that makes the car faster. But the more tape you put on, the less amount of air you can go through. Then that hot dog wrapper gets on there, and pretty soon no air going to the radiator. The car just simply runs too hot.
So Ryan Newman still not able to get that knocked off behind any of these cars, and now Michael Waltrip up to 3rd spot, and Newman running in 4th, just ahead of Jimmy Johnson. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 5th different leader of the Checker Auto Parts 500 at Phoenix. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Leader to 97.
That's about a 1/10 and a half better than the last few laps. outside. Corner, clear, clear. Clear.
Better than 110,000 on hand at Phoenix International Raceway, watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front. He leads Kurt Busch by 0.8 of a second, with Michael Waltrip, Brian Newman, and Jimmy Johnson leading the top 5. Rest of your top 10 are Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Rusty Wallace, and Mark Martin. Championship leader Matt Kenseth is in 17th position. We've had just the one caution flag so far when Jeremy Mayfield lost an engine back at lap 35.
That was a pretty impressive stat we put on the screen. Junior has led 24 races this year, more than any other driver in NASCAR Winston Cup competition.
In fact, he's led the last 8 straight races, BP.
Mighty impressive.
Of course, Junior's second in the championship. 258 points behind Matt Kenseth starting the day. This Phoenix International Raceway is one of the tracks that only hosts one NASCAR Winston Cup Series race per year. With all the talk about realignment 2004 and beyond, a lot of these one race per year tracks are angling for a second race. And so our singular wireless race talk poll today, if you had to pick from among these 4 tracks, which track would you like to see get a second race each year? Phoenix, Vegas, Texas, Kansas. Give us your vote. We'll tell you our opinions later.
Let's see. Okay, I got mine.
I got mine.
Okay.
Although that's a tough choice.
It is a tough choice. It really is. I agree wholeheartedly.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. started to put some cars a lap down and just put 34th place Casey Mears a lap behind. Kenny Wallace, Ricky Craven, Todd Bodine, Tony Raines, Kyle Petty, Steve Park, Ken Schrader, Larry Foyt also overtaken by the race leaders in this little run of the race. We went back to green at lap 43 with everybody on the lead lap. And it's been a long run here. Pit stops, by the way, say 25 laps away if we don't get a caution.
Ryan Newman, the 12th car, looks like he's trying to get the handle back, trying to take over that 3rd spot from Michael Waltrip. We don't have to worry about making contact between these 2 cars because they're running entirely different lines around the racetrack.
Working around Ricky Craven. Filled in for you up here in the booth yesterday, Wallace.
Ricky doesn't look like he's having a very good day so far.
He's not having fun. How about our broadcast pal from yesterday, Mr. Weber?
3 words, Alan.
Not too good.
Very good. They need to really free it up in the middle. The car is very tight. So when they stop, they adjust it on the track bar, and they did a little wedge, a little air pressure, and gave 4 tires of fuel. It hasn't helped a whole lot. So, you know, we had fun yesterday, but not much fun today.
Ricky and his team, matter of fact, haven't had a lot of fun this week, Bill. They are one of the Pontiac teams, and I guess the big headline of the week in NASCAR racing off track was Pontiac's announcement on Tuesday that they would not back racing for Pontiac Grand Prix anymore after the conclusion of this season. The Pontiac teams themselves had no inkling this was coming at all. A reaction from them basically, if you have a contract with General Motors and a good contract for beyond 2003, you're probably going to be running a Chevrolet and you'll be okay. If you don't, then you might be shopping around a little bit. The reaction from the Grand Prix teams that I spoke with here during the weekend.
I think most of the guys aren't going to. Ricky told us yesterday that the Cal Wells team, the Tide Rod, would be a Chevrolet next year.
And probably the disappointing thing for most of the teams is that at this point in the year, they've, besides losing the backing of Pontiac, who've been a supporter of this sport for so long, the fact that a lot of these teams have built cars already for 2004. They've got 2 or 3 or 4 race cars already done, and they've got to go back and start again and make them Chevrolets. Here's a great drive so far today by the 7 car. And Jimmy Spencer, Bill, really made a nice charge up through the field.
He sure has, Alan. Coming in off the good finish last week, Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, big smile in the garage. When they stopped the first time, Jimmy said the car was tight, so they made a track bar and air pressure adjustment. Now, car is turning times as good as the leaders. Jimmy's saying he's still a little loose. They're doing around lap 125. Spencer looking for 2 solid weeks back-to-back in that mess right there with Rusty in the 29. We'll keep an eye on that. Send it to Dave.
And Bill, Alan was just talking news events here this week. I was handed a press release this morning from Roush Racing stating that Mark Martin's crew chief, Ben Leslie, would be moving on, but to another Roush-related team, that to the Wood Brothers team of Ricky Rudd. And Ricky Rudd's crew chief, well, he'll be coming over to the 6 car of Mark Martin. And when will that all happen? Effective Monday. They'll get a head start on next year. Matt?
Billy Wilburn in his second season as a crew chief on the Blue Deuce here says the car is tight from the center up. He's trying to figure out what adjustments they want to make. One option they're looking at is a track bar adjustment, wedge, and possibly even an air pressure adjustment on Rusty's Dodge. The car is slowly moving up. Now 8th, Marty.
Kevin Harvick's been fighting tight in the center of the corner, loose off of the corner for most of the day, Matt. His problem is that they want him to run half a lane higher. He said, when I go up there, the car just way too loose, but that seems to be the faster way for many cars, just half a lane up from the bottom groove.
So that's the story of the guys running 8th, 9th, and 10th right now. And farther ahead, Ryan Newman has gotten by Michael Waltrip to take 3rd. Jimmy Johnson starting to challenge the Napa car for 4th.
And look how high Michael Waltrip is on the racetrack in relation to the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson.
Earnhardt Jr. out in front, took the lead away from Ryan Newman at lap 86. We're at lap 112 now here in Phoenix.
I received this wedding gift from my husband's aunt, but I don't need a monkey lamp. I was extremely torn. I didn't know whether I should just keep the lamp or return it and risk hurting her feelings. So I asked myself.
Out the back.
Hey, how are you? Surprise. Can a guy like this get a girl like this? Oh, yeah. Average Joe premieres NBC Monday, 10/9 Central.
seated all around this Phoenix International Raceway, even on the desert hillside, overlooking turns 3 and 4. Watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. lead. Caution's coming out. Got a car up in smoke in turn 3. It's Casey Mears. And that caution is going to be devastating to Jimmy Spencer. We just told the story of Spencer just before we went to the commercial break. And then he had to come on pit road for a stop under the green flag. And Bill, now he's going to get trapped a lap down. What happened with the 7 in that green flag pit stop there, Bill?
Jimmy said he's out of gas, and Tommy Baldwin said, no, there's no way you can be out of gas. Jimmy said, I'm out of gas, I'm coming in. It only took a can and a half. So Tommy told him it must be something else. So, Benny, that's fuel pickup or something like that.
It sounds like that they're not picking all the fuel up in the gas tank. Also, Joe Nemechek in the Army car had made a pit stop, was on pit road, so he's now lapped down.
Lucky dog. Kevin Page. Nice break for the 4 team after that great run they had in Atlanta last week, finishing 14th, started 12th, stayed up there all day. Now he's going to get back on the lead lap. Here they come to pit road. Stops will be at lap 120. Bill?
Jimmy Johnson will hit first. Car's too tight, so it'll be a wedge adjustment, 4 tires and fuel, and then he'll be on his way, trying to get back to victory lane. Track bar is what they're going to work on. Dave?
Kurt Busch, loose off 4, wants a track bar adjustment, little air pressure adjustment on those left side tires. He'll take 4. Matt?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. says the car is just slightly tighter than the last run, but he likes it. No adjustments for driver 8. Hardy?
Second place, Ryan Newman, loose off of the corners, Matt. They go down 1 round on the track bar. They also put 1 round of wedge in. You see the wedge wrench being pulled out right there. They're going to clean the debris off the grill. That's the most important thing. Water gotten up to 243. And oh, that's a close race off pit road, Alan.
I guess.
97. Good stop.
Let's check the camera at pit out, shall we? Ryan Newman in that first pit stall just has to dump the clutch to try to get to that line.
Got there third.
All right, Ryan Newman was pretty good on 2 tires. Let's see what he can do on 4 tires. Bill?
Well, Matt Kenseth was on pit road. This time he got 4 tires. The car was good at the end of that run. Half round down on the left rear, so they make the wedge adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for the 17. As for Jeff Gordon, Robbie Loomis said the car was just a little bit loose. 4 tires and fuel for Jeff Gordon, looking for his first win here at Phoenix and his 3rd consecutive win.
So Jeff Gordon running in 9th, Matt Kenseth running in 14th as they came off pit road after the stops. Kurt Busch back out in front here at Phoenix.
We're pretty good here.
No easier than what it is right now getting into the stall, so gotta get it, gotta make it happen. Hit 4. As you can tell, I'm still ill about the last 2 days. Lucky dog will be the 4 car. He'll be coming outside. 4 car. All right, belt's tight. 1 to go when you get here. Go ahead and clean.
action, call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or visit HomesteadMiamiSpeedway.com.
123 laps complete here at Phoenix. Kurt Busch still in the lead. And speaking of men who know things about things that are going fast, Cedric Bonner, the quarterback for the Arizona Rattlers. You're used to football in half of a field, very fast there. What are you, a NASCAR fan?
You know what? I'm becoming a fan more and more. This is incredible to watch the kind of teamwork that goes on down here. It's just awesome down here. Big adrenaline rush right now.
AFL kicks off February 8th on NBC. Now, your team's been to the last 2 Arena Bowls, but didn't win, he said.
You know, we're trying to get it done finally, get another championship ring. Just trying to complete the mission and take care of business.
3rd all-time passing leader in the AFL, also 3rd all-time in touchdowns. Alan, you've seen him play a couple times, haven't you?
Yeah, look forward to it next season. The AFL on NBC starting February 8th. Arizona Rattlers being the hunt for another Arena Bowl title. Jimmy Spencer in that 7 car did not pit under this yellow. Remember, he stopped under the green, so he is tail end of the lead lap. The 0-1 car, Joe Nemechek, Benny mentioned, stopped under the green. He's actually tail end of 2 laps down, or tail end 2 laps down. Or now 2 laps down that the 97 has gotten by him. So it is Spencer last on the lead lap in 32nd place, right in front of Kurt Busch.
Yeah, he's about to go a lap down here.
Oh, now got the wall off turn 4 that time.
But now he needs to stay 1 lap, first guy, so he can be the lucky dog if something does happen.
Ooh. You want to say that Jimmy's not knuckling under so easily, Kurt?
You can see they're showing love for each other right there. Now Kurt's going, this isn't going to be so easy.
In fact, right behind them, the 8 car's trying to get around the 12 car.
Knuckling under, for those of you new to NASCAR, reference to a post-race altercation the two had in Michigan after an on-track high-speed bumping session.
Here's Junior trying to make a run. He's alongside the 12. Ryan, is he going to play a tough to get? Yes.
Gave him a lot of room there, BP. A lot more than last time.
And that's for 3rd place they're racing for. Now Newman going to jump down in front of Junior to try and get by the lap car of Joe Nemechek in the Army machine. The back straightaway here at Phoenix about 400 feet longer than the front stretch because of that dog leg. And so they really wind the RPM out of these engines when they get to turn 3.
I'll tell you up front, Jimmy Spencer is giving it all he's got to stay in front of the 97 car of Kurt Busch.
Jimmy Johnson creeping up in the back of Kurt Busch for the race lead.
I don't need him in my way.
That was Kurt Busch's radio.
And 97 is getting held up a little bit by Jimmy Spencer. That's letting Jimmy Johnson close the gap.
And that's why that Kurt has to try to go on as much as he can, because if he just says, okay, I'll try to follow Jimmy Spencer, guess what? The 48 is going to try to pass him and maybe get by for the lead.
But, you know, letting somebody by and settling for the lucky dog thing's just got to be contrary to your instincts.
No, I don't think anybody's saying that. I mean, Jimmy's doing everything he's got to do here.
Well, I think that's what Kurt's saying.
Oh, okay.
When we heard the radio transmission, you know, hey, look, let me go. He's going to be in line for the lucky dog. He's just holding me up right now, and I'm the leader. But that's just against your instincts as a driver.
And it's a little bit more than that with these 2 guys.
I was going to say, was that an agreement or a disagreement?
We're all around. Coming inside it.
It's Jimmy Spencer's radio.
Here's Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, looking on the inside of Kurt Busch.
You know, if I'm Kurt, again, it goes against your instincts, but I might just say, all right, Jimmy, I'll let you lead for a bit, see if you can get by this guy, and I'll follow you through.
Yeah. And, you know, Kurt's frustrated right now. There's no doubt about it. So he's going to have to regroup here a little bit. Give a little time. And you're right. If the 48 gets by him and the 48 gets by the 7 car, Jimmy Spencer, it may leave a hole big enough for both of them to get through it. But Spencer's got a pretty fast race car.
Yeah. How about 97 there, Dave?
Kurt trying to keep himself collected. He radios to his crew. I can see that there's no other challenge here than the 48. Bill?
Chad
Canals told me this morning this car has been very good since they got it here. A little free all the way around. There's a bump in turn 4 that was giving them some problems, but they've worked through that. Had a good stop, and now trying to get to the front of this field inside of the 97.
Bill Chad Canals told me this morning, I said, how's things going? He said, see you in victory lane.
Really?
Yeah.
They were confident, weren't they?
They sure were.
Coach, our singular wireless race talk poll earlier had to do with the races that have one race now that would like to host a second stop on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. We took your ballots from among these 4 nominees that we put up.
Wow, look at that. Texas, 44%.
That's what I thought would win. Bottom line, they're all great candidates for a second race. But
yes, they are.
There are only so many dates on the calendar. Robbie Gordon, singular wireless driver, we asked him for his take on this subject. Here's what he had to say.
If there's one Winston Cup track that deserves a second date, I'm going to have to pick Las Vegas. The reason why, it's a great place to bring your sponsors and entertainment. Fun racetrack to drive on also.
All right, well, that was not my pick. The majority was not my pick. The fans at Kansas have just been terrific. I mean, you know, they bought all the tickets. They go to the IRL races, the truck races, so that was my pick.
This is still going on between Ryan Newman and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And this for 3rd and 4th places. Matt?
Alan, right before the restart, Junior radioed his spotter, Ty Norris, and said, ask the 12 spotter how that team wants to race it. They haven't done anything dirty yet, but I can really tell that Ryan is pushing it hard when I try to work the bottom line underneath him, Marty.
I think also Matt Ryan was pushing a little hard because his car was not handling as well on the last run as it is this run. Matt Boylan just asked him how's the car. He said the chassis is much better, balance pretty good. More importantly, water temp down to 220.
Got the hot dog wrapper or whatever it was off the grill there. (136) laps complete, now 137 for leader Kurt Busch, out in front of Jimmy Johnson by 0.2 of a second here at Phoenix International Raceway.
This inning brought to you by Wendy's. Here's the pitch, and it's right down the juicy part of the plate.
Juicy.
Boy, that one had a lot of mustard on it.
I like mustard.
And he lines it, Bob. This could be a double.
Double?
Oh, I think he's going for a triple.
Triple?
They have him in a pickle.
That's it, kids. We're going to Wendy's.
Yay! Wendy's has a better way to satisfy those late-night cravings. We make every classic single and double fresh right when you order it.
And here's the throw.
Oh, caught stealing.
Wendy's, it's better here.
Let's say this is you. Yeah, you're the king. But being the king isn't always easy. So, when you're with more trouble...
Back at Phoenix International Raceway Live, Ricky Craven has just gotten into the wall in between turns 1 and 2. Caution flags out. Craven running 35th at the time.
There's a pack of those guys together. I don't know if you got any help over there, but there was a bunch of them boxed up in 1 and 2 there.
And Jimmy Spencer, that 7 car, stayed in front of the leaders. Now back on the lead lap, tail end the lead lap, but
he's on the lead lap and somebody else is going to get the lucky dog. Because Spencer was able to stay in front of Kurt Busch. Check it out. Craven, left of your screen.
Is that pack like he's just going to break loose there?
And Matt Kenseth in the vicinity of the crash, your championship leader.
Ricky's been struggling all day. Like when he got on the gas there. Well, it actually looks like he got loose before he got on the gas.
Looked like just about the time he turned the wheel to make the car go the other direction, the back end came around. All right, pit road is open.
Last pit stops at lap 120. Only been 19 laps. We're going to see some 2-tire stops here.
We're going to see a bunch of guys stay on the racetrack. Look at this.
Kevin
Only one car going to pit.
10th place, Kevin Harvick, the only one of the leaders that comes in. Let's go finish our commercial break.
A really fucked up move here.
In the way, we'll straight from the brake. Looking left right here. Gabriel, get this fender at the bottom. Hard all the way out, Kevin. All the way.
thought they'd all come, but we're in trouble.
Back are racing like hell, wilder than hell, so Danny just helped him out there.
Well, we're in the back, so I guess we're going to be part of it.
Yeah, 10-4.
At least 4 lifetimes.
Craftsman's 1,600 hand tools are guaranteed forever and made in America. Craftsman at Sears.
Notre Dame looks to continue its dominance of Navy.
It's too slow on my pace. Got to keep my pace up a little bit. For example, I ran the first run probably the hardest. The second run, I backed it up a little bit so I could save it because I figured it'd go longer. That run right there, I was limited by only what my car could do. All right, 10-4. Coming outside you here, the 74.
Listening to us right now, and you know he's the biggest race fan in the world. And Dad, I hope that you're liking this race because it's been a pretty good one so far. And see you tomorrow.
Good boy, HB. How about the leader's pit crew, Dave?
Checking in with Jimmy Fennig. You know, just seems like challenges keep coming Kurt's way. Are you glad you didn't have to race around the 7?
Yeah, I mean, Kurt did an awesome job there racing. You know, he just watched the 7 there, you know, and today's been pretty good. Rubbermaid pit crew's been doing an awesome job, and Kurt's doing an awesome job on the racetrack. We'll just see what happens at the end.
Great, thanks, Jimmy. Bill?
With Chad Canals, crew chief for Jimmy Johnson, how's your stuff?
Not too bad. The car's real good down at 1 and 2. You know, I'll tell you what, I can't say enough about this Lowe's team. These guys have fought hard this week. We didn't run real well here last year. We've really stepped it up, so I'm really proud of these guys. Jimmy's done a great job. Going to try to stay in the top 5, make some more adjustments, and see what we got at the end.
Okay, going back to green here in a second. Jimmy Johnson running second behind Kurt Busch. Kevin Harvick, the first of the drivers to pit under this caution flag, gave up 10th, came out 20th. Other guys who pitted besides Harvick on the lead lap: Robbie Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Ward Burton, Greg Biffle, Bill Elliott. Most of the guys toward the back of the lead lap besides Harvick. He was the only one of about the top 20 that pitted.
Yeah, but from 20th on back, they all dove in and got those fresh tires.
And that's what's going to be interesting to see here, BP. Now Harvick's got 20 lap fresher tires than these guys in front of him, and we'll see what kind of ground he can make up.
There's a lot of track position to make up this racetrack.
Lucky dog on that last caution was Tony Raines. He's back on the lead lap in 33rd place. And it's Kurt Busch leading the field back up to full speed. Let's talk about that 29 decision to come in and pit. Marty?
Yeah, Alan, in essence, they were running 10th and came out 20th, so they gave up 10 spots for 20-lap fresher tires. We'll see if it works. Kevin, coming down pit road by himself, said, this is not a good decision, but Todd Barrier's point to me was, we were going nowhere the way we were. We were way too loose off. They made a big adjustment. We'll see if it works.
Junior about to lose a spot as he tries to get by this lap traffic. Tony Stewart drives on the inside. Does Junior know he's there? Looks like Ty Norris told him he was there, but here comes Tony again.
Yeah, Junior had had to hesitate a little bit with the 54 car top of dying, which that let Tony Stewart make up a lot of ground and fill the hole.
Michael Waltrip there in the mix in the 15.
Couldn't pull it off, though.
Junior did not give him a lot of room down in 1 and 2. He kept the 20 car down on the bottom part of the racetrack. Man, what's Junior saying now?
Well, under that caution, Dale Jr. said on the first run he was working the car really, really hard. The second run, it backed up a little bit, but it's got progressively tighter. He said on the third run he is limited by what this car will do. Tony Stewart, who was working hard on Dale Jr., says the car is tight in the center, free in or free off, but he's really concerned about the tight in the center. Greg Zipadelli wondering and thinking about what they're going to do to that race car on their next stop to get smoke back to victory lane here in Phoenix.
Tony Stewart, the 99 winner of this race. Currently running in 5th place. Trying to hold off Michael Waltrip as he's fallen back a length or 2 from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s back bumper. 3rd, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 2nd. Tony Stewart's last 6 weeks on the Winston Cup Tour. Hot.
He's been terrific. Sure has. And last week in Atlanta, I think about everyone expected, once they came out and Jeff Gordon leading the race and Tony Stewart right behind him, that Tony would go by the 24. But guess what? Didn't get it done. Jeff Gordon up to the task.
So Tony hanging in there in 5th position. You know, everybody wants a piece of the action, BP. Everybody wants to do what we do every week. Let me show you what I mean.
What?
Why does Benny get to have all the fun? I want to cue the duck.
Hey, Benny, you get to have the fun every week. I want to do it this week. Hey, Benny, you get to always have all the fun, but this week I'm going to do it. Hey, man, cue that duck. Cue the duck.
They all want our job. Time for the Aflac NASCAR Winston Cup Trivia Quiz. The only championship leader that failed to finish a Phoenix NASCAR Winston Cup race.
Who is the only championship leader that failed to finish?
I don't know. Let's see.
We'll show it to you.
Earnhardt, 1994.
1994. Earnhardt had already clinched the championship when he came in here to Phoenix. He had won it the week before at Rockingham. He ended up scoring his worst finish of the season here when he had an engine failure. After 91 of the 312 laps, he finished 40th. So there you go. The duck hath been cued.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the help.
Kurt Busch leading Jimmy Johnson. With Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Tony Stewart rounding out the top 5. 33 of the 43 starters on the lead lap. Only drivers out of the race, Casey Mears and Jeremy Mayfield. Done for the day with engine failures. Ricky Craven's car back in the garage being repaired after a trip into the turn 2 wall a few laps ago. How about our championship leader? Bill, where's he at?
He's doing all right now. Car's just a little bit loose. He says not bad. They're going to try and make a wedge adjustment when he comes in next time. But the 4 tires have helped out. So Matt Kenseth up to, what is he, 13th right now, Alan?
You got it.
Okay, so going the right direction.
Remember that Kenseth took just right side tires on his pit stop at lap 39, was 27th at the time, moved up to 14th, and only fell back to 16th in that next green flag run until he came in with everybody else and got 4 tires and back on equal footing.
So that was a big plus. That was a good move.
As they run.
Let's see, what about Harvick now? He's still in 20th. And that's what I said. It's going to be hard to make up that kind of track position on this racetrack.
Kenseth chasing Mark Martin there for the 12th position.
And I think these 2 guys are chasing cars, Jamie McMurray and the 99 of Jeff Burton, who just changed 2 tires on this last pit stop. But they're able to stay out in front of these cars. May be wrong, but
Jamie McMurray still using that apron down there. And there's some grip down there, you know, on these aprons in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Just got to be careful. If you're sprung too soft and you hit that apron, it'll snap the car loose. So you just got to make sure that you can work that apron in practice if you're going to use it in the race.
Greg Biffle on pit road. Just at halfway, Matt.
Heartbreak for Greg Biffle came on the radio. He says, I've got a flat tire. The last time by, Doug Richard, the crew chief, said, it looks like the left sides are up. You will only go 2. He says, I just don't know which one it is. So at this point, we're going to go right sides only for Biffle.
Okay. Biffle trying to chase down Jamie McMurray in the race for the Bestest Rookie of the Year title, and that's going to be tough for Biffle today as he's on a green flag unscheduled pit stop, and McMurray's running just outside the top 10. We're just past halfway in the Checker Auto Parts 500 at Phoenix. Kurt Busch.
Working the bottom of halfback. Clear low.
Motto. What goes around comes.
Clear, clear. Clear, clear.
Just sucked it off of there.
Go on, bud.
Got all the way up to 240, back down to 210. The lap times are good. That bitch started turning. Wherever you fixed up on the next stop.
Last few years too, Wally, in my opinion. Number one, the dependence on aerodynamics. You can't fix aerodynamics here at the racetrack for the most part. And the other thing is, practice time is very limited here.
Right.
You only get a couple hours of practice on Friday.
And when they come in on Friday, all that is getting ready for qualifying, which is so dramatically different than getting ready to race. So Friday's It's just a qualifying
It's
day.
shot. The whole day is shot.
Yeah, exactly. Just qualifying, and then Saturday you get ready to race.
Kevin Harvick's starting to make some progress on those 4 fresh tires. Marty's moved up to 15th.
He's made half of that ground up, Alan. He's made up 5 spots since he restarted. Chassis much better. Kevin happier with it now. The one point that we were talking about during the break, they can make it on one stop. Todd Berrier says that's by accident, not by design. They were hoping everybody else would pit with him, but you know, if it works out, he said, you know, I'll just be lucky and that'll be fine with me.
And Todd Berry is so cool, isn't he? Okay, so
Turn 3, got a car on the wall. Jimmy Spencer, Ward Burton, and Kevin LePage have all crashed. Boy, Spencer with a hard hit.
Back it in. You all right?
No, he's not okay. He's got the air.
And knocked out of him.
Yeah, all the air is knocked out of his body.
Ward Burton apparently and Kevin LePage getting in the oil from Spencer's car. You heard the crew chief Tommy Baldwin say the engine blew up and he backed it in. See Jimmy moving there in the car trying to get his breath, and
it's a hard hit.
Boy, it was.
Boy, they never blow coming off the corner, do they, Benny?
Going in. When you back off the throttle, maximum speed, maximum RPM, that's when they decide to blow up.
And we talked about earlier the back straightaway being the longer of the two. They're really twisting these engines tight at the end of that back straightaway here in Phoenix.
Well, let's see.
Top of the screen.
Oh, yeah. Close the engine. Split the oil. Man.
Well, LePage didn't get it too bad, but Spencer, boy, what a hit.
Yeah, he just...
Ouch. And, folks, that's in slow motion. And Biffle goes sliding through, barely missing the 7th car.
He just slipped in his own oil. I'm sure that thing grenaded, as we say.
And Ward Burton getting in the oil and catching the wall in turn 3 as well. Pit road is closed.
That's Ward's got his helmet off.
And the pit road is closed because of where Jimmy Spencer's car sits in turn 4, apparently. Oh, this is not going to be pretty.
That oil, fluids from the engine gets on the racetrack, on the asphalt surface, and these tires hit it, and it just absolutely like hitting ice. If you've ever driven your car and hit a patch of ice, you know what Jimmy Spencer felt like.
You see Jimmy out of the car there, just kind of hidden behind the corner of the ambulance.
Yeah.
And walking away, taking off his head and neck restraint. And there's Ward Burton out of his car.
There's Jimmy walking over toward the ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Just barely.
I want to go home.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's a hard lick.
So, thinking back to racing for a minute, now that we know Jimmy and Ward are okay, Kevin Harvick, 2 tires on this pit stop to get some of that track position really back?
I would think so, probably.
He stopped at lap 140. It's one...
I don't know, man.
Maybe he won't stop at all.
Yeah, he will.
I think he's going to stop, but those guys are pretty fast down there in that 29 pit. They can take 4 and get away with it.
Sorry, Walt. See where all the rescue equipment is, so that's why pit road remains closed. So let's take our break here. We'll come back for the start of the pit stops in a minute. Be interesting to see what kind of strategies are played out on pit road. Caution flag is out for the 4th time today here in Phoenix.
In demand.
Clear shot coming in, but the 4 will be coming around. They're going to stop it as deep as they can, and we're going to stop you as short as we can and get you out of here. road is still closed. Pit road will be open this time. We got a couple of blowers up here just past the dogwood against the wall, Michael. Pit road will be open. 42nd, 100-second. Okay, bud. Stop on the side. Nice and easy, fellas. Nice and smooth.
The track's starting to tighten up as well. He's good in 1 and 2, but is having trouble in 3 and 4. He cannot get the car to rotate down there. So what he's been doing is been using the apron to help him turn the car. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a chassis adjustment to try and help Johnson get out and get by the 97. So he's on pit road. The crew goes to work. 4 tires, chassis adjustment, and fuel as we turn to lap 173, Dave.
Leader Kurt Busch was just a little bit free off the corners, a little bit tight in the center of the turns on fresh tires. Wants a track bar and air pressure adjustment. Matt?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. says the left front just not working. He needs the weight on the car. He needs it to be picked up about half a car length. Back in the throttle, Marty.
For the first time all day, Ryan Newman's car is tight. Ryan Newman made the call. 2 tires, 2 rounds of webs in the right rear, and the 12th car wins that race off pit road.
We had a few guys get just right side tires there, Marty. I want you to follow up and check for me, but I believe Rusty Wallace and Kevin Harvick also just got 2 tires. I know Jeff Gordon did. A little bit of a log jam at the end of the pit road. This is the race for 3rd. Look at this. Harvick and Gordon.
Look at that one, Harvick. Oh, Harvick, barely.
So the 29 took 2?
Yes. Like I talked about.
Yep.
That he might do. I think pretty good call there by Todd Berrier. We'll reset the running order for you after this. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
The first one with 4 tires. Not sure, Kevin. 8. Even if we give up a few spots right here, we're going to be better off, Kevin. And 10-4. But you'll do good, I know. I think Rusty might have just took 2. Pretty sure him and the 12 took 2. 10-4, we'll be okay. I think the 24 behind you did also. His tires look a little dusty. Wheels. Yeah, 10-4, so I was just looking at whatever going by. I think the 24. 12 and the 2 both put 2 on. I just checked with them. 24 took 2.
It's no surprise the home.
We've got pressure left in the other cars anyway. We got 10-4.
take the 2 tires. It was a great decision, but here's the 7 men who got him out first.
Matt Borland, crew chief, Hazlet, Michigan.
Michael Nelson, windshield, Anderson, South Carolina.
Ray Ocean, front tire carrier, Salisbury, North Carolina.
Dennis Terry, front tire changer, Mooresboro, North Carolina. Chad Norris, jackman, Concord, North Carolina.
Trent Terry, rear tire carrier, Dundee, Ohio.
Joe Piet, rear tire changer, Wausau, Wisconsin.
Steve Berner, gas man, Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Jerry Moody, catch can, Hickory, North Carolina.
Those guys have done a terrific job all year long on that 12 car. Well, I mean, after all, what has he won? 9 times? 8 times?
8 races, yeah.
Wow.
Caution just about to wrap up after Jimmy Spencer crashed over in turn 3. Dave? Let's take another look at the accident that put us under the caution. My bad.
I don't know if I want to see this anymore. What about you, Wally? Hard contact with that outside retaining wall.
You can feel it, can't you?
I just can feel it.
All right. Dave, go ahead.
Guys, we're going to jump in with Jimmy Spencer here real quick. Jimmy, just got to tell us about what happened there. We saw the ride. Pretty rough go for you.
It really was. It was a hard hit, you know, but we had terrible gas mileage. Something happened to the pickup in the car, and we only could run 80 laps, and that's where we ended up losing a lap. We got it back. It's fun racing Kurt there. I'm sure it wasn't for him. He didn't have a lap car, but I knew that we had an opportunity to win the race, and then finally took the book in the bottom end of the motor and busted the oil pan and got oil underneath the car and tore it all up.
You're okay?
I'm fine. We had rocking in this week.
Alex?
Okay, Dave, thanks. Back under the green. Brian Newman, Rusty Wallace, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, the first 4, just right side tires on their pit stop. Then Jimmy Johnson and Kurt Busch, the 2 leaders before. Order reversed, though. Johnson off pit road ahead of Busch. Followed by Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, and Sterling Marlin up to 10th place.
And Nemechek is running Brian hard, trying to get one of those laps back. He's 2 down.
And right now, Rusty Wallace has getting all he wants, and Kevin Harvick right behind him. And I know this might be very seldom this year have we seen the Penske cars, the 12 and 2, running 1-2. Roger's here today. He must be very happy. He looks down and sees on the scoreboard his 2 cars running first and second.
You know, I talked with Roger Penske about Ryan Newman. And he said, you know, we've got to start giving this young man more credit for what he's accomplished this year. He said everybody keeps talking about the fuel mileage thing and the strategy thing, but this young man has gotten up on the wheel and driven the wheels off this race car, and he deserves more credit for the success that he's had this season.
I will agree with that, but when you talk to the guys inside the garage area, they don't talk about fuel mileage. They talk about the talent that Ryan Newman has. They all understand that.
Jeff Gordon, one of 7 drivers whose teams just got right side tires on their pit stop. He's locked up in a fight there with Kevin Harvick. And Kurt Busch behind them all looking for a way through. This would be for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Wow. Look at them all.
Jimmy Johnson down there following his teammate.
A fleet of Chevrolets battling for the, what is that, 3rd spot?
Yep.
You got a Ford in there.
Oh, that's right. Kurt Busch is in there.
The Lone Ranger.
After Earnhardt.
A fleet of Chevrolets and Kurt Busch.
Junior, there's just nowhere to go. They're stacked up 2 by 2. He's got to wait till it sorts out.
Gordon locked up in this fight, Bill.
Yep, Alan, and just on those 2 right side tires, as you talked about, Jeff said that's the only way they're going to get to the front is by taking the 2 tires for track position. So let's see how long they can stay there.
That's why I love this racetrack. And I mean, I love this racetrack, and that's why it's so fun to drive here, because of that right there. You run side by side. There's plenty of room to race here.
But if they keep running like this many laps, they're going to all of a sudden somebody's going to be fighting for the same amount of racetrack. Oh, see like that.
That's a slide job.
So Gordon in front of Harvick for 3rd. Now Kurt Busch there. Remember on.
out. Turn 3. Caution's out. Turn 3.
Not hard to believe that there'd have been some contact there and all that traffic after the restart that might have cut that tire out.
And I guess he couldn't get to pit road.
Might not be any suspension bolts left on that thing by the time he drags around here for a mile.
They don't run an inner liner here, do they?
No, that's right. Tubeless tires here, so he's basically on the rim. And look, the tire is wrapped around. This is the tire back here, part of the tire.
Our circles need some work. Here, let's do this.
Benny draws.
Here, see the tire? That's how you get a circle in here.
So this is the fifth caution of the race, and it comes out with 126 laps to go. Don't suspect we'll see many pit stops here, except maybe some of the guys toward the back of the pack.
I said Jeff Gordon put the slide job on Kevin Harvick.
So the caution flag's out. They're slowing down.
Probably.
Pace car comes up.
Kevin Harvick probably agreed with me on that one.
Yeah, he comes up and trying to get Jeff. Jeff doesn't want to look at him, so he pulls up beside the 2 car. Oh, finally they get together.
Whoa. Okay, so that was Harvick was the back end of the doubleheader there.
Say they're not happy with each other.
No. Boys.
Okay, so let me write. We got 12 and 8. We had 97 earlier. Now we've got 24 and 29. Marty, who else you got?
99, and he is leaving pit road. He said he got into us. I don't know who he is yet. I will effort that. He said he did not pit the first time because he thought the left rear would not do any damage to the car, and looked pretty clean. He said someone did cut the tire when they came around. It's a shame because he just came on the radio and said, way better, the chassis, very good, but these guys have just had awful luck this year.
Yeah.
He didn't lose a lap. So.
No, but he's going to be back in 30th place after the caution flag for his tire that went down. Yellow flag, 125 to go at Phoenix.
Do you have the right truck? The 2004 Chevy Silverado now available with Power Pack.
Just said we might have a fender rub. Tail down there.
Just looking at that left front, Danny, but I mean, it ain't rubbing now. When did that happen, Kevin?
The yellow. When he come over here and come up on me. How far in is it?
I mean, I can see the tire right there at the top. I mean, it's in a good little ways. If it don't rub, we'll be fine. We should be rolling over right there, you know, when we're coming off a corner. I mean, hell, I don't know. To play it right, we ought to come in here and pull it out and put 4 tires on it.
It'll be all right. Who's on lead lap? Yeah, I don't think so.
Braking hard when you're turning off the wall, so just be prepared for it.
You got lap cars that come inside. The first one will be at 45.
Midshipman in South Bend. Next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, NBC.
100% pure official products. And
Cars off.
Great.
We're clear. Outside. They're about at 97 needed.
Fender in on a tire.
That's the second place man in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship.
And that's not going to be good.
Did Ty Norris say he made contact with a 45? Spotter was talking to the crew.
It's Kyle Petty's car, who's the first car one lap down in 33rd place.
When he turns that wheel so far, that's when it hits that fender. And you're hoping right now, when you're sitting there driving that thing, you know you're rubbing the fender. You're hoping, man, I hope this thing doesn't cut and blow a tire.
Kurt Busch inside of Jeff Gordon.
Looks like Junior's car smokes worse in turn 3 than it does in turn 1.
It's digging in there pretty good.
Look at Kurt Busch trying to pull a slide job on Jeff Gordon.
His third place. We're watching here. Kurt with 4 tires on his pit stop. Gordon with just the whites. Kurt has led the most laps so far today, 2 times for 98 of the 193 laps that we've completed.
Boy, you don't want to be on the outside of that 8 car if he does have a left front tire go down.
Yeah, Danny Culler, spotter 29, tell him to back up. Well, they're not going to do that.
Now they want to get in front and get away.
Ooh, Harvick almost flattened his right side out on the wall there.
Kevin Harvick is driving his heart out right now in that 29 car. I don't think he's quite as good as some of these other cars. He's trying to make up with talent.
So Junior by Harvick. That'll be 5th place.
A lot of guys on the rev limiter back there. Harvick slides up the track. There's another spot here. Couple spots. 48 gets underneath them.
Johnson, and here's Tony Stewart up behind him. Marty Harvick's fighting a good fight, but he's not winning at this point.
Yeah, nothing really wrong with the chassis, though, Alan. Kevin came on the radio during the caution and said, we may get beat up here for just a little bit, but we need a long run. The longer we go, the better we get. Matt?
Marty, very little conversation on Dale Earnhardt's radio channel. They do know the tire is rubbing. It's not rubbing a lot. The guys are ready with tires near the wall in case he does have to duck out pit road. But Jeff Clark, the gas man, just took his helmet off. They don't look like they're getting ready to pit anytime soon.
Well, with the field all bunched up on a restart after a caution, you know, cautions breed cautions, and maybe they get somebody else bounce off each other and get a quick yellow and get a chance to fix it. But Earnhardt Jr. locked up in this very tight fight for second in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship with Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson.
And it's worth, what, 2nd to 6 is a difference of $750,000 or something?
$810,000. Wow. That's a lot of money.
Lots of money. Even to these guys, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. 38 points between 2nd and 5th starting today. Whoa. 91 points 2nd to 6th.
Harvick is having a hard time getting into the corner. You know, he gets in, it looks like he hits the brakes, and that car really starts sliding. I don't know if he needs to adjust on those brakes or what, but he's having a hard time getting in the corners right now.
There's that race for second.
Yeah, we've come. 2nd to 6, 71 points. Matt, what about Tony Stewart?
A track bar and air pressure adjustment on the last stop, VP. Tony said the car just feels like he has limestone tires. Absolutely no grip. He can't figure it out. But he also said, Zippy, I feel like we need another long run so these guys will start slipping and sliding all around again. They don't know what to do with it, but I sure do. That comes from his open wheel dirt background.
I'd like to see a dirt track race. I think Tony Stewart would be pretty doggone tough if they ran these cars on a, say, a 1 mile dirt someplace. Each year, ARCA runs that 1 mile at Springfield and DuQuoin.
Yeah.
And Tony Stewart usually wins day after Labor Day.
Matt, you got more on Stewart for us?
And he did win in an ARCA dirt race earlier this year, one of the biggest wins. He said for him, that was a big goal. He wanted to win a full-fendered stock car, and he sure pulled it off this year. But he's certainly...
Tony Stewart getting around the lap car of Joe Nemechek there. Little shuffle up in the back. Bobby Gordon, Jeff Burton.
Those guys must have been racing and almost wrecked or something because they're way off the pace there.
99 car saw car just driving by. What happened?
Here you see them side by side. Oh, Robbie, what are you doing there?
I saw those front wheels turning like he got loose under Jeff, and
he got loose and he had no place to go, and all of a sudden 8 tires became much better than 4. You're right.
Whoa.
99. He's kind of looking like Wally yesterday. Yeah. He's in a hurry, isn't he, Marty?
Jeff is getting a little aggressive now. He's none too happy on the radio. The incident earlier, now his good buddy Robbie Gordon, and he's not very happy, but he's trying to make his way back to the front after cutting the left rear tire. Let's talk about Ford in this racetrack, Alan, real quick, Alan. Pretty incredible here. 11 of the 15 Winston Cup races held here at PIR. Ford has won, including 5 of the last 6. Going to that back-to-back wins by Jeff Burton in 2000, 2001, and his teammate Matt Kenseth winning here last year. 3 straight for Roush here. Pretty clear that Ford is a dominant make here in the Valley of the Sun. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again. Now, keep in mind, they pitted last on lap 190. Paul Andrews tells me they are not planning to stop again. They can go about 100 to 103 laps on a tank of fuel. That leaves 122. Clearly, they need some help with cautions. But the 99 strategy right now is to stay out.
Oh, come on, Marty. Come on, Marty.
Jeff Burton running 27th right now. Here's the race for second. Jeff Gordon trying to get around Rusty Wallace. And Dale Jr. joining the mix. Of course, Jeff Gordon trying for the three-peat after winning the last 2 straight races at Martinsville and Atlanta. Last time Jeff Gordon won 3 straight, it was actually spread over 2 seasons. He won the last 2 of 1998, plus the Daytona 500 of 99. These guys up front have pretty much been up front all day as we check our Little Debbie lap leaders. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. hanging right in there, top 6.
What, that 8 car still looks like it's working the best out of everybody.
And he just got by the 97 car of Kurt Busch, who has led the most laps to move into that 4th spot.
He's definitely the fastest car through 3 and 4 that I've seen.
Matty, how about Rusty Wallace running second right now?
He is losing sight of his teammate who is leading. Billy Wilburn told me this morning one of the best pieces of advice Roger Penske ever told him: if you don't take a chance, you'll never get a chance. They took 2 tires on their last stop, something they did several times here last year, and it has helped. The car a little tight in the center, but very good on entry, very good off. They made a wedge adjustment the last stop. Rusty just told Billy Wilburn he wants that wedge put back in it on their next stop.
Okay.
All right, Kurt Busch now tries to get alongside Jeff Gordon. He'll probably get alongside, but can he get enough on the throttle to come off the corner and beat him? No, can't do it.
Not yet. So Jeff Gordon giving up 3rd spot to Dale Jr. Now trying to defend 4th from Kurt Busch.
Kurt really wants to get on the outside of that 24 car, but I don't think Jeff Gordon's going to fall for that trick.
No, I don't think he will either. But, you know, all Kurt's going to do is going to keep working the 24. He's obviously probably a little faster, so he's going to try to get right to that left rear corner. Loosen him up maybe a little bit.
Turn 3, got a car in the wall.
Steve Park.
Steve Park.
Head on in the wall. Man, that's a big-time wreck.
Caution's out. Safety vehicles rolling already.
Steve's trying to start the thing.
I don't think he's going to get far.
No, it's not going to run too good, Steve.
Well, here comes the window net down.
And that's just fuel in the exhaust system. The exhaust system is 900 degrees, 1,000 degrees, and the fuel that has fallen down in that steel exhaust system has to burn off some way.
See, here's one of the... All right, let's take a look at what happened to Steve first. What I'm sorry to say is, see, they couldn't roll the safety cars across because these guys kept coming below Steve Park's race car between where the safety workers were and where his car is. And NASCAR tells the drivers in the drivers' meeting, if possible, go above the scene of the accident so we can get the safety trucks to the crashed car.
But if you're a driver, you don't want to go above the accident because there's debris up there and you don't want to get debris on your tires.
Exactly. That's where the debris would be located.
He just got loose. He was on the outside there, and the car just broke loose on him.
He and Todd Bodine might have made contact just before they got into the corner.
Looking ahead from Robbie Gordon.
E4.
No.
Speed in front of you. Speed in front of you. Stay low. All clear.
Didn't look that way from that shot.
So 6th caution flag for Steve Park, running 36th at the time, and into the wall in turns 3 and 4. Now 102 laps to go at this point. These will be potentially the last pit stops by the leaders of the race.
I would say.
Yep. And they last came in at lap 173, so I think we'll see. What do you think? Most people take 4 here, huh? For that long run to the finish?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pit road remains closed. We'll take a break, come back for those crucial pit stops. You're watching NASCAR.
Still closed. Load open. Might lose a spot or two, you know. Whatever else you got. That's my biggest concern. Yeah, I think about that because it got pretty bad. Pit road will be open. Just watch the leaders. 2 tires and try getting that fender. I don't think we can, bud. Watch the leaders. 12, 2, 8, 24 to coming.
side tires and gas. Right side tires and gas in that track.
Of his helmet. Dave?
Kurt Busch's car has gotten tight. He wants a track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment, but only 2 tires, Matt.
The wedge has already been put back in. Rusty Wallace's blue dude, so 4-tire change, no other adjustments than that. Marty?
Tick on the tight side for Ryan Newman. He says it can be loose off depending upon how I drive it. No one has ever won this race from the pole. Many teams taking 2 tires. It'll be 4 tires for Newman on the very edge of his fuel window.
Wow, 2 tires. Man, that's
pushing it, Benny.
Man, that is really, these guys, but you have to gamble so much these days to try to win these things.
So let me add these up here as we check the camera exiting pit road.
Yeah, you do the math.
Jimmy
There's
Johnson,
48.
97. Kurt Busch.
2 tires, 2 tires, 2 tires.
First guy on 4 would be...
Not yet. 2 tires, 2 tires.
4 tires.
2 tires, 4 tires.
Okay, Newman's first guy. And then Gordon, he comes next? No?
Rusty.
Junior, then Gordon.
Oh,
man.
How about that 2-tire call, Bill?
On the 48 car, pretty gutsy. The last adjustment did free the car up a little bit, but it wasn't as good as it was. Jimmy said they needed to free it up again with a different adjustment. They took just 2 tires. See if that helps them or hurts them. That's a long, long way to go.
Oh, that is, Bill. That is 100. Oh, well, let's see. What were we, 98 to go?
Memory serves me right. Matt Kenseth did just about the same thing last year and won this race.
It was later in the race, though, Alan. You're right. You're exactly right.
All right. Well, Jimmy Johnson, just 2 tires on his pit stop. Can they carry him to the finish? I don't know. It's a long way to go.
NBC Monday and all you Las Vegas. Yeah! It's just one of those days. The guests are locked out.
How many rooms? 400.
And from the oldest gang to the wildest thieves, everyone's on edge.
I don't know what's the matter with me.
Another hot, all-new Las Vegas, NBC Monday after Fear Factor.
Deep in Washington's forests, bold poachers defy the law. Now, King 5 exposes these illegal bear hunts. Monday at 10, bear baiting.
We find bear bait sites constantly.
Widespread, organized, and thriving.
Even weeks later, the bark of this hemlock still smells like a glazed donut.
Outlawed by voters, ignored by poachers.
It's a big problem.
A King 5 investigation. Monday on King 5 News at 10 on Kong 616.
He thinks I'm going to the left, so I'll go right. He thinks that I think he's going to the right, so I watch for the 3. He thinks that I think that he thinks I shoot the 3, so I'll pass. He thinks that I think he's going to pass, so I'll guard the lane. He thinks that I think he thinks I'll drive the lane, so I'll go outside. He thinks that I think he's going to the outside, so I'll go left. So I'll go straight to the rack. So I'm going to go. One mind, one body, one soul.
Get your game pack now.
Log on, quit your job, and make money Monday at 7.
On the track, these men are fierce competitors. But today, they are helping build the Victory Junction Gang Camp for children with life-threatening illnesses. Please join these and other dedicated drivers in support of this empowering camp being built in honor of Adam Petty.
Through your donations, this dream will soon become a reality.
Join the gang, the Victory Junction Gang,
and feel your heart race.
Okay, which one of you guys took the restrictor plate off the bulldozer?
I mean, Trader.
Maybe they should stick to driving.
Now another NASCAR Winston Cup memory. November 15th, 1992, the Battle of Atlanta. During the season's final race, Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, and Alan Kulwicki all take turns as the NASCAR Winston Cup championship leader. In the end, independent driver-owner Kulwicki clinches the title by 10 points over Elliott, the closest margin in NASCAR Winston Cup history. 33 years of NASCAR Winston Cup racing memories. And I don't think any of us who were there in Atlanta that day, particularly by the sad events just months later, will ever forget that thrilling race for the championship.
Most dramatic race I've ever seen, the 1992 Hooters 500.
Like one lap, right? I mean, It was decided by 1 lap.
It was decided
as
by
far as the lead.
Yeah, who led the most laps.
And Kawicki led 1 more than Bill Elliott did.
Finished 1 spot behind him in the race, and what a thrill.
It was so dramatic that David Poole wrote a book about that race. You know, it's unbelievable.
Back under green here today in Phoenix. 94 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson the leader, Kurt Busch second. Michael Waltrip third, Jamie McMurray fourth, Mark Martin fifth, Brian Vickers sixth, all just 2 tires on their pit stop. Ryan Newman first with 4 tires. Off pit road next in line, he is 7th, followed by Rusty Wallace, Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart back through 11th. Championship leader Matt Kenseth is back to 18th.
A lot of these cars are going to have some caution flags if they make it on fuel the rest of the way.
Bill, 99 laps to go or when they made the pit stops. What are your guys down there saying?
I just talked to Chad Canals. I said, can you make it? I said, nope. I said, you really can't make it? He said, well, right now, we can't. So obviously, they're going to need some caution laps to get there.
Okay.
And we heard Jeff Gordon talk about a piece of tape on his windshield visor. As these cars go down this front straightaway and drive into the sun, visibility becomes very poor.
Let's go back and talk some more about that fuel situation story. We were monitoring Jimmy Johnson's radio just a few minutes ago.
Good job, boys. That's what I'm talking about, boys.
And 4, boys. Way to go.
Save fuel. Save fuel. 10-4. 4.
And that sets the stage for it. So obviously they're going to see if their driver can conserve fuel. But Chad seemed pretty sincere when he said they can't make it if it stays green. We'll see.
99 laps is a pretty long poke here at Phoenix.
1 car this morning when I walked through the garage area, 1 team told me they could run 100 laps. 1 out of about 30 guys I talked to. Was it that one? No, it wasn't that one.
Very valid question there.
Yeah.
How about Kurt Busch, Dave? How's he sitting?
It wasn't Kurt Busch either, BP, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, no, they can only go about 90 laps, so they're going to need either a lot of caution or a splash at the end.
Oh, really, probably 1 caution would bring him into that window.
Now here's the race for first among the guys who got 4 tires on their pit stop, and it's the 8 and 12 side by side again. We've seen this a lot today. Ryan Newman about to lose a spot, Marty.
And Alan, they are right on their fuel number for making it all the way. They told Ryan as soon as he left pit road, go into fuel conservation mode now. The chassis is the best it's been all day long on the run before this one, and they are better the longer they run. So they may wind up in victory lane again.
Well, he's done it a bunch already this season. Made the most of their strategy.
RPM cost you some fuel. And that being said, the 8 car would probably come as close as anybody because he's turning less RPMs than most cars out there.
Kevin Harvick. I keep on calling Vickers Harvick for some reason. Today, Brian Vickers trying to win a NASCAR Busch Series championship while getting his Winston Cup career started. And he's back up to 6th place after starting very well earlier today up in the front row, on the outside of the front row. Let's hear about his car right now.
Saving that 2-tire scenario, Alan, for late in the race. That's what they were hoping for, and that's what they just got. They did make a small adjustment, but Brian is very, very close. Peter Suspenzo's crew chief, remember, 2 out of the last 3 races here at Phoenix, he's had a car that nearly won, finishing 2nd. He says we are very, very close. I've cautioned him, very close.
And that goes back to Peter Suspenzo's days running the 12 operation for Roger Penske. Remember Mike Wallace in that 12 car. Had a runner-up finish here a couple of years ago.
And Junior goes by Vickers, takes over that spot.
How about our Chevy in-race leaderboard? Bow ties looking good, but they got a fight on their hands right now. 1st, 3rd, 6th, 7th, 9th.
They got the odd numbers with the exception of Vickers.
Chevrolet has not won here at Phoenix. Whoop, got a spin? No, guess not. Thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye there. Now about this knot of cars? Just to finish that thought I started to throw out there, last Chevrolet win here at Phoenix, 1994. Terry Labonte. That could change today.
Wow, we're getting a little push there.
Oh, here we go now.
6, 7, 8.
Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers.
Oh,
now
we got a big crash.
Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, Kevin Harvick, and Bobby Labonte.
Wow.
Caution flags out. They were all racing for 10th place.
All right, Kevin, we'll meet you at we'll meet you at the garage. I'm ready or not for that thing.
And some potential contenders for a top finish here today at Phoenix. Looks like with their days severely hampered.
Now this crash may be big enough and take long enough to clean up that some guys, it will get them in that fuel window.
And everybody drove away. I don't know how long it's going to take unless they just got out fluid. Looks like Rusty gets into the back of the 20 car and then 22 car.
Scott
Wimmer gets in the back of Rusty, and then Kevin Harvick's got no place to go. Bobby Labonte has no place to go.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Another shot. It's a chain reaction.
The accordion factor.
Yeah.
And our championship leader, Matt Kenseth's view, going through the accident.
And he can't see too much down in the sun, but he does see all those cars go to the outside, and Mike Helen off the spotter on.
Clear all around. Great job, great job, great job.
I'm sure he was telling him to go low.
And fortunately, Matt cleared to his left. And now a view not so pretty. This is with Kevin Harvick.
Stop.
Danny, you can't stop that quickly.
Those cars don't have the brakes to stop that quick.
Danny Carr, the spotter on the car.
So Harvick has taken his car off the racetrack into the garage area for repairs. Rusty Wallace on and off pit road.
There you see the 5 cars involved. I don't think Wimmer, the 22 car, was involved to a great deal, but Rusty, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and Kevin Harvick, they had serious damage.
Yeah, Wimmer stayed out there.
Tony Stewart also on and off pit road already. Here's another look.
Scott Wimmer, the 22 car, is right in the middle of these cars, and
looks like Stewart.
He gets in the back of 22, got in the back of the 2 car and spun Rusty when he made contact with the 20. So 22 was involved, but I don't think he had a lot of damage.
See Bobby Labonte's car being towed away.
That.
Oh, man.
Well, they must be really, really short on fuel.
That's all we had to make, guys.
What are they saying, Dave, on the 97?
10 away. Let's put 40.
Wally, they needed 16 yellow flag laps to make it to the end. They didn't think they were going to get them. So 3.5 gallons of fuel is all that Jimmy Fennig has called for. And then they changed their mind. Well, let's just get 4 tires anyway. We're the only one that came down pit road. We'll put fresh rubber on it. Hope that'll take us to the end.
That's a lot of track position. Looks like the next car that I saw come down pit road was the 20th place car after Kurt Busch gave up second. Matty.
Tony Stewart is in. They're going to go to work and pull out the fender. On the left front as they're going to put 4 tires on, surveying the damage. Mark Robertson, the spotter, was telling Zippy what the right side damage looked like as Mike Linger fell, and the guys continue to work on that left front corner of Tony Stewart's race car. Rusty Wallace was in twice. They pulled the fenders out on both the right front and left front fender as work continues on Tony Stewart's Chevrolet.
So a 4-car crash racing for 10th position brings out the 7th caution of the race. Some pit strategy is going to cost Kurt Busch some track position.
How they fire up the jet to blow it off as soon as we come in.
I told you they were going to do that, Fanning. I told you we're going to have 8 laps of caution.
Well, we need 16 to 17 laps of caution.
10-4, I know that, so there's no reason to really worry. We're in the pickle we're in. Nothing ever goes right.
Everybody else has got to come in. This will probably be green flag from now on out. Everybody else come in. We'll be all right. Up on the outside.
The 01 didn't get it, or is he more than 1 lap down or something?
Yeah, the 01's probably about 3 laps down.
That's what's wrong with this rule. That guy should have at least 2 laps back today.
Got his lap back, so who else is there? The 20 car? No, 20 car is still on the lead lap. Uh, 23, 14, 31, then us.
Go.
I don't know if I'd change the other side, lose another lap.
Halfway down the back.
No, we don't need to lose a lap here.
Back in. Go this time. Turn 4. Peter, come on. Gonna do you no good speed, Robbie.
2 laps. Was bad. It won't ever be a lucky dog. We should have changed that side. Could have changed any of them, but it's history now. We're better off just staying on the lead lap.
Robbie.
Yeah, sorry.
Never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead. Remember what we talked about today? Pulling up our coming to green.
I had to go.
Although there are a few more cars back in the garage. Here we come to the restart with 75 laps to go. Kurt Busch is 22nd after giving up second place to Pitt, and nobody else did. Jimmy Johnson leads, Michael Waltrip second, Mark Martin third, Earnhardt Jr. fourth, Jamie McMurray fifth, followed by Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Scott Wimmer, and Matt Kenseth 11th. Now, they got under that caution flag 8 laps of yellow. From the pit stops at 99 to go, those guys that aren't planning on stopping, were those 8 laps of yellow enough to get them to the finish?
Well, they got a couple of laps of caution flag after they pitted on 99. So we're probably looking at 11, 12 laps. My guess is some of them now will make it.
It doesn't look like Earnhardt's trying to save fuel.
No, and again, the 8 car I know does not have as much gear ratio as some of these cars. That will help his fuel mileage.
We'll get a follow-up on that. I can assure you our guys on pit road are scurrying around for those answers. Matter of fact, we might get one here, Matt.
I spoke with Tony Eury Jr. this morning. He says they're playing it a little more conservative. They feel like not as conservative as Matt Kenseth, but they can't take a chance on breaking an engine like they did back in New Hampshire. They were going to be good to go before this caution. Slightly a quarter of a gallon left in the tank, but now they should be good to go, Marty.
Vinny, I've never seen Sluggo Labby so nervous. You wouldn't believe it. The man's pacing back here in the back of the pit stall. Michael Waltrip's car very close, right on the edge of the fuel window. I asked him what kind of gear they were running. His answer, a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid the 15 might have more gear ratio than the 8 car, which robs a little bit of that fuel.
Yeah, I talked with Slugger this morning in the garage. He said, I'm worried about this thing living all day because we're really pouring the coals on the fire. They want to win badly.
And the 15 car, the Napa car, was very, very good in Loud, New Hampshire racetrack, very similar to this.
And, you know, the more gear you run on a place like here at Phoenix, A, it helps rotate the car in the center. It loosens up the car when you get on the gas. And B, you don't have to use as much brake. Because when you have a lot of gear, the engine helps slow you down into the corner. So it's a plus if you can get it to lift.
Michael Waltrip just lost second place to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's trying to close in on Jimmy Johnson. Meanwhile, Earnhardt Jr.'s rival for second in the championship standings is in the garage after that last wreck. Dave?
Not anymore, Alan. That sound you hear is Kevin Harvick returning to the racetrack. The crew went to work on the front of the car, put everything back together that he could, and that they could, and they sent him back out having felt like all the fluids were running through the motor. Everything was good to get him back out there and run a few laps. By the way, Steve Park was fine. He was released from the medical center, didn't want to talk to us after his wreck earlier.
Okay, thanks for both those updates, Dave. So you see Harvick rejoining the chase. Unfortunately for him, 14 laps down in 36th place.
Jeff Gordon just drove by on the outside of the 12 car. Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers trying to do the same thing in the 25.
So that puts Gordon to 6th place. Next for him to catch to try and get a spot, Jamie McMurray ahead of him. 42 car, another top 10 day going so far. Let's hear about him.
He's trying to knock down his 6 top 10 in the last 8 races. I just spoke with his crew chief, Donnie Wingo. I said, can you make it? He kind of gave me the hand sign that we are very close. I said, how close? He said, we are extremely close, but they are going to stay out. Curly running in the 5th position.
Boy, Jeff Gordon's working him over pretty good there, wasn't he?
He really
on the outside, and Jamie right down on the apron.
Remember Gordon with 4 tires, McMurray with 2 on the last stop, and Gordon wanting that 3rd straight win. Big.
I think Jamie said, you go. Jeff's got that high line working for him.
So Jeff Gordon to 5th. And about 3.5 seconds behind his teammate, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson looks in his rearview mirror. He's got company coming.
In the name of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Brian Newman now trying to get by McMurray to pick up a spot. That'll be 6th place. You know, To me, it seems like clean air has made all the difference for Ryan Newman's car today. When they took that 2 tires and got off pit road first, he never really got challenged for the lead. But once he got back in the traffic,
that's happened to him a lot of places.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is close.
Behind them, and Jeff Burton back up to 9th, joining the picture there on the 99 car. Remember, we saw him with the flat tire earlier, way back in the field. Got those 4 fresh tires when nobody else had them at that point. He's made the most of them. He's driving right up through the traffic. How about that 99 car, Marty?
He's really happy, and he was kind of talking on the last caution, said, man, if we didn't have that one problem, we could be battling for a top 5 right now. Car is the best it's been all day, according to Jeff. They can make it all the way on fuel.
Jeff Burton's another one of those guys that races this racetrack here at Phoenix very well.
Yeah, back-to-back wins here for Burton a few years ago. 25 car. Matty?
He is running an 8th, working on the back of the 42 car. Now, he did tell his crew chief that the car is better. Made a 2-tire change and a track bar adjustment on the last stop. They have freed the race car up. The only problem they've had all day is that he's breaking in a helmet. It's very close to the lower jaw. It's almost like when he talks, like he has his jaw wired shut. They've had a hard time understanding him today. But at this point now, it's all up to him having an awesome, awesome day here in the 25 car.
Just his 3rd NASCAR Winston Cup start for Brian Vickers, the 20-year-old from Thomasville, North Carolina.
Yeah, Burton run up on the back bumper of Vickers, tried to get, well, it did get him a little bit loose getting into turn 3, but Vickers had a nice recovery.
He's getting closer up front. Earnhardt Jr. tracking down Jimmy Johnson. He's got it down to just a couple of car lengths now. How about the 48, Bill?
Well, Alan, as the 8 tries to close in on the 48, the question becomes fuel. I could tell you what I know, but it'd be better for them to tell you what they know, and this was their conversation before we went back to green flag racing.
You okay on fuel?
Do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to lie to you?
How much is this helping us?
Now it looks like that we are 1 lap short.
We'll at least get 2 more laps before we go back to green.
I kind of had that figured in, though.
Counting your ducks where they hatch, or whatever the hell that saying is.
Gonna keep looking here. You know, we'll keep figuring it out. Just keep trying to save fuel.
And after they went back to green, Chad told me he's still not 100% positive they can make it. And it's the same situation for their team car, the 24.
You know what? I don't think Jimmy's trying to save fuel right now.
No, I think he's trying to stay in front of this 8 car.
I agree.
I talked about these guys going down into the sun. Watch as they come off turn 4, on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is what they see as they start down the front straight. Almost nothing.
Now, well, maybe a little bit better, because I'm sure Junior's got a dark visor. A lot of these guys, you can run either clear visor, smoke visor, or really dark visor. And most guys know about that sun going into 1, and a lot of drivers will put the darkest visor they can on. Like some of the earlier shots we had of Matt Kenseth, he had a very dark visor on.
Matt Kenseth has moved into the top 10, and he's trying to get 9th. Remember, Robbie Reiser told us Matt pretty happy with the race car when Bill talked to him before. Look at this, Bill. He's trying to get 9th spot away from his teammate.
Trying to work under the 99, and as Robbie told us, and Matt just reiterated a few minutes ago on the radio, the car is good. He wants some clean air. Getting into the top 10. Hey, Benny, if you had 43 guys in this race, and they were all going to gamble except 1, and 1 was going to be conservative, what number would that be?
17.
You're exactly right. That's why they took 4 tires, took no chances on their last pit stop, and it's all paying off right now. Couldn't quite get the 99, battling with a 22.
Hey, Bill, what we're wondering, 17 fuel to the finish. Are they good to go to the end?
He is good to go. Robbie told me that earlier, so I didn't ask him when we talked to him. But yes, they can make it.
How about this 22 car? We got to give Scott Wimmer a call. Terrific run in his, what, 3rd race in this car?
Yep.
Didn't he win the Busch race here last year?
Yes, he did. All right. For the lead, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Jimmy Johnson with 56 laps to go. Junior took 4 tires on his last pit stop. Jimmy Johnson, 2. Matty?
Junior just radioed in about 6 or 7 laps ago, says, my car is tight behind him. I'm going to chill until I feel like it's time to go. And guess what? He felt like it was time to go.
Junior runs that bottom line down in 1 and 2. Now he's going to try the high line.
Well, because the 48 car decided to take his line, and so Junior said, well, I'll go high. It's hard to pass it when they run exactly where you're going to try to run.
Here's a change for 5th place.
I saw that yesterday a couple times.
Well, Ryan Newman trying to get around Jeff Gordon, but 24 able to hold him off for now. And up front, 48 of Jimmy Johnson, able to hold off Dale Earnhardt Jr. for now. I spoke with Jimmy on Friday. Jimmy is from El Cajon, California, in the southern part of the state near San Diego, an area so affected and so devastated by those wildfires. And it was on Jimmy's mind. He said a lot of friends, childhood friends, the childhood home that he grew up in, threatened by the fire. And he was really concerned about the relief efforts and making sure that people knew about the relief efforts and chipping in and doing their part.
That was unbelievable over there. Junior trying to use some of that apron to make that 8 car turn down in 3 and 4 look like. Oh, and Jimmy a little bit loose.
And back to this for 5th place. Ryan Newman trying and trying and trying.
And he's going to try some more. Slide job.
Squeeze, squeeze. Look at Jeff Gordon's hands work there.
Wow. Wasn't quite enough room there for Ryan to slide up in front of the 24 car.
Well, he wanted to, though, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He leaned on him a little.
Great stuff. You talked about the drivers fun in this racetrack. That's why they don't have any trouble selling their tickets here either.
Hey, this is a fun place.
Jeff Gordon still hanging on outside of Ryan Newman. And Junior, look at Jimmy Johnson with the little slide as Junior got up underneath his back bumper.
Got him a little bit loose. Good thing to do here when you're trying to go for the lead, or any position for that matter.
And looks like Junior's going to get him up in 3 and 4. He does.
50 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the lead.
And the crowd, you can hear them from inside the booth as they go nuts as the 8 car goes in front.
You know, as strong as Dale Earnhardt Jr. has run this season, I mean, he is second in the championship. It's kind of hard to believe he's only won 1 time. That was at Talladega back in April.
And you know that he and his team badly want to win on a racetrack like this.
These guys are still going at it. And meanwhile, I think Gordon finally said, you know what?
Enough.
Yeah.
The Juniors bunch wants to be validated as a top-notch team.
Now, saw Kurt Busch give up second spot for a pit stop back at lap 232 and restarted in 22nd place. That was the 9th spot he just took from Brian Vickers on the fresh tires. And the 99 just ahead of him will be the race for 8th place here in a minute. Dave?
And they've just been motivating him along. Kurt not saying much on the radio at all. Focused and now pretty motivated because they know they got sort of caught out on that pit stop. But they reassured each other back and forth. There's no way they could have made it on fuel. So at some point, they would have had to stop again. Unfortunately, no one came down pit lane with them when they did this last time.
Now the biggest problem Kurt Busch has gotten, besides the fact that he lost all the track position, is that even though he's fast, he's 9.5 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
But he was 13 seconds behind him about 10 laps ago, 15 laps ago. Right after the green, we looked at that, and he was 13 seconds, so he's making up a little bit of time there. 4 seconds, 47 laps.
We'll see. 47 laps to go at Phoenix in the Checker Auto Parts 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in search of his second win in 2003.
With you by himself. Still outside. Hit your quarter. Hit your bumper. And clear high, clear.
I'm a little bit tight, but I just can't get him underneath.
Hang with it, 45 to go. By 3. All right, you're clear. Caution's out. Caution's out.
almost wrecked again.
What happened?
You can catch up to 45% more dirt than your typical oil filter. Now let's just...
All right, 10-4, we'll do that. Ain't nothing else we can do but this ride, like 40 more laps.
That'll be up. You might as well.
Delicious sweet onion chicken teriyaki sandwich, made fresh with under 6 grams of fat, so you can feel good about being good.
What if the 48 comes but the 8 stays out?
What's up? Hard to say. To make it, they're really close to where we so,
Can make all the difference.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Catch the tiger by its chest.
Car, how bad have you got it?
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway, caution flag has just come out. Jeff Green has lost an engine down the backstretch into turn 3 in the Petty 43, and so the 8th yellow flag is waving over this race.
Huge break for Kurt Busch, because now he's in 8th spot. He got by Jeff Burton. Now he's basically only 8 car lengths behind. And how many of these cars will pit? What do you think, Wallace?
I don't. If I was a 97, I think I'd stay out there.
Here's the moment of truth. Pit road is open as the field comes by. Earnhardt Jr., the leader, not heading toward that commitment line. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Brian Newman fakes. Looks like Jeff Gordon in 6th is going to be the first one to come in. Kurt Busch stays out. Matt Kenseth stays out. 6th place, Jeff Gordon. First one to come in with 41 laps to go, Bill.
Had to make the stop. Alan Carr just way too tight. So they're going to free it up, make a chassis adjustment, put 4 tires on it. Should be 4 tires at this point. Put the fuel in. Nope, just going to be 2 tires. They did it with 2 tires and sent him on his way. See if that helps him out.
That was a good call, though.
That was a good call.
Yep.
Matt, go ahead.
And Brian Vickers just slid over the yellow line. He had to back up. They're going to make a chassis adjustment and a 4 tire change. He was outside of the top 5. Going to go for some fresh tires.
So here are the cars that did not pit. Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin, Terry Labonte.
Newman, did he come in?
Ryan Newman, Jamie McMurray, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth. Those would be cars and a couple of others. So this sets up an interesting little twist for the finish. Just joining us, let's catch you up on what happened so far today. Beautiful near 80-degree day in the Valley of the Sun. Ryan Newman and youngster Brian Vickers leading the field to the green flag. Lap 34, first caution. Trouble for Jeremy Mayfield. Engine expiration. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Close call with Jeff Green's crew on the set of pit stops for that yellow flag.
And lap 52, Junior and the 12-car Ryan Newman get together as they battle for the lead.
And remember last week.
Yes. Lap 120, another engine failure. Casey Mears puts out the caution flag again. Watch the race off pit road. Kurt Busch here going for 2 tires. And squeaks out ahead of the field on that set of pit stops. Now lap 140, the 3rd caution flag of the race. Ricky Craven with a loop-de-loop up in turn 2.
And then on lap 170, Jimmy Spencer, hard contact on it, turn 1. Also took the 4-car Kevin LePage, the 0 car of Ward Burton. The 4-car just barely involved.
Jeff Gordon with a slide job on Kevin Harvick that kind of got Harvick interested in discussing it with Gordon under a subsequent caution. Yikes. Then later at lap 202, Jeff Burton with troubles. He and Robbie Gordon get together. Burton eventually suffers a cut left rear tire. deep part. Here's what you were talking about, BP.
Yes, up in turn 3. Heavy contact with the outside retaining wall. AOL Chevy done for the day.
Steve OK, lap 230. This was a race with 10th position gone bad. Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte, and Kevin Harvick, third place man in the championship.
All 4 of those cars battling for that 10th position. Scott Wimmer, the 22, able to get through it.
Then Dale Earnhardt Jr. catching up to Jimmy Johnson. Johnson, who got just 2 tires on his pit stop with 99 to go. Earnhardt Jr. got 4, worked his way to second, and then with 50 to go, worked his way to the lead. Much to the delight of the Phoenix crowd. And then this most recent caution, the 8th one of the race, when Jeff Green lost his engine in turn 3. So Jeff Gordon comes off the pit stops back in 12th place. Let's hear from some crew chiefs down on pit road. Matt, you're first.
Alan, a little debate on the radio between the juniors, Tony and Dale. What did you just tell me first off? You hate this stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous right now. We've been in this situation a number of times this year, and something always goes wrong. But, you know, I was just glad we made the right call there. You know, kind of benefited from the earlier caution because we had some fender damage on the left side and took 4. So it makes us a little bit better than the rest of these guys, but hopefully he's more calm than I am in the car. So
DEI's last win on a non-plate track was Dover in the fall of 2001. This would end that long streak, Bill.
Chad Canals, crew chief for Jimmy Johnson. You stayed out. Why?
Track position's pretty much the key here. You know, we're going to be close on fuel, but I guess that's what makes it exciting for everybody, right?
Are you racing for the win here, Chad, or are you racing for second in points right now?
Well, we're always racing for the win, you know that for sure. But, you know, we'd like to gain some good points today. The 29 had some trouble. We're ahead of some of those other guys, so we're just going to go and see what we get. Told Jimmy to save some fuel, but try to hold his position. You know, the low Chevrolets been running great all day. I hate it that we're in this position, that we got to take a gamble, but it's that point in the season you got to take a chance when it's there. You know, you just got to go for it.
You also told Jimmy this is a big picture day. Marty?
Slugger Labby has stopped the pacing. I believe you guys are okay on fuel now, but can you catch your teammate for the win?
Well, we hope so. You know, our strength, just like New Hampshire, has been the long run, and we got 40 laps to go. We'll be 100 laps on the tires, so hopefully to come our way. And DI hasn't won a downforce race in a while, so either us or Ada hopefully win it. So guys on pit road have been great all day long, and I think after that first stop, Benny owes us $500, but we'll have to watch the tape. But Napa Chevrolet's been doing good all day long, been in the top 10, and cars really good right now, so we'll just see what happens.
It's 700, and I pass the message along, okay?
Okay, 700, we'll take it. If he wants to give me 100 too, I'll take it.
There you go, BP. I'm spending your money, Dave.
With Ben Leslie, crew chief for Mark Martin. You guys pitted with 99 to go, 2 tires only. Do you have enough gas? Do you have enough tires? Do you have enough car to win this thing?
I don't know. You know, the guys up front, the 8 car and the 48's awful strong. We for sure have enough gas, I believe, you know, to finish the thing out. The tires, they'll be what they are. The 48's on 2 tires also. Them guys are awful strong up front. I just like to hold on to a top 5 finish.
They've worked their way up there with that 2-tire spot, and now it's Mark's job to hold it or improve, Alan.
Talking about Michael Waltrip and a chance to win the race at New Hampshire back in September. He was in position to go for that win. A late pit stop. The fuel can hung up when he left the pit road. Took the can out of the pit stall, and that's a penalty, and he ended up finishing 26th. I'm sorry, 28th in that race.
Green flag, green flag.
All right, here we go. Can Kurt Busch, the 97 car, work his way toward the front? Currently, he's in 7th position, has better tires than the 6 cars in front of him. Oh, who was that sideways? Biffle?
I don't know, but he was sideways.
Got another 7 laps of caution there, so for these guys now, fuel to the finish should be out of the question.
It's out of the question, yes. We've taken that out of the equation, I believe.
Boy, Jeff Gordon in that big bottle of traffic coming at you off turn 4. In a hurry on his fresher tires. Restarted 12th after giving up 6th. How about 48 car, Bill?
Even after they went back to green, Chad Canals told Jimmy, you've got to save us some fuel. Be conservative when you can. I don't know how you do that.
I don't either. Especially when you've got the 8 car driving away from you and the 15 closing in on you.
Yep. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Jimmy. Do the best you can.
But you know, when Chad talked about a big picture day, Bill, they are locked in that fight for second in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. And it's important to them who finishes second, not only just for the money. There's a pride thing on the line, but they want to finish that second. How about the guy going to finish first in the championship?
Wow. Oh, very, very close. The 21 car, Ricky Rudd, got in the left rear of the 17, and Tell you what, a lesser driver might have spun.
But Matt Kenseth now up to 7th, Bill, and trying to close on Kurt Busch for 6th.
But before they went back to green, Robbie Reiser and Matt were talking about it, and on the radio they said this could have been a mistake. The guys behind us are going to have better tires. We probably should have pitted. Let's see what happens.
31 car there that he's racing, Bill, is not on the lead lap. Robbie Gordon is 2 laps down in 33rd place, and he gives Kenseth plenty of room. Next position for Matt will be Kurt Busch, just in front of him. Next car behind him is Jamie McMurray in the 42, there to the inside of Greg Biffle, trying to come back up.
Takes over the 8th position.
This all going on behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front as we come up on 30 laps to go. Matty?
Junior out there for track position rather than tires before the green. He told his spotter, Ty Norris, my game plan is simple. Listen to what I want to do.
Any last time for anything, or you just going to do your own deal? Nah, I won't concentrate. Yeah, go and put bigger. If I'm doing real good, you can tell me how bad I beat the second place guy. Seems like you've been doing, you've been fine.
Junior was 5th here last year. He was 2nd in a Busch car. He hasn't had many good runs since. We've got a crash.
Got one going up in smoke, Matt. Another engine, it looks like. Kyle Petty, caution flags out. Did not hit the wall, but it started to let go when he came up off of turn number 2.
You heard Earnhardt talking about that. It is, even hearing your time sometimes is distracting when you're driving a car very, very hard, and all you want to do is just focus in on driving that race car, and you don't want to hear anything pop in your head. So that's what he's trying to do. Unless it's really, really good things like you're smoking the 2nd place car right now.
You're beating him a half a second.
Hey, guess what? We just set a record.
For caution flags?
It'll be caution flag, most caution flag laps in a Winston Cup race here at Phoenix next time they come by.
So, you know, these 2 cars running side by side, the 1 of John Andretti, the 9 of Bill Elliott. They're telling NASCAR, look, you've got to tell us who goes in front of the other because we were side by side. And NASCAR is telling that the 9 car would be get that position.
Now, that's part of the no racing back to the yellow rule. And drivers are instructed in their meeting that happens 2 hours before race time. If you dispute a position, just ride alongside. We'll make the call from the tower, and then that's it. Whatever we call, that's it.
That's final.
And they have made the call 9 and then 1. So caution flag is out once again. This will be number 9 here at Phoenix. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the middle of trying to win.
Stop, 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 stop. Straight through, clear all around. Great job, great job, great job.
Come between Ross and his girlfriend, her ex, Greg Kinnear.
I still love you.
Too little, too late.
I love you too.
Okay, that's it. We are seeing other people.
A full hour of friends.
Holy crap, I hope for sure they're going to blow the pit entrance there in the bottom.
Ford Championship weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, where they had the Goodyear tire test earlier this week. Of course, Homestead, with the new banking added, 18, 19, and 20 degrees. Dave Blaney, one of 3 drivers who tire tested there earlier this weekend, or this week, I should say, and he gave us his opinion on the new layout.
It's hard to tell, if it'll get a middle groove in it yet or not, but they, a lot of work in a short amount of time. They did a great job.
And I talked to Johnny Benson this morning. He was one of the other drivers, along with Scott Wimmer, who did the test. Johnny said, quote, going to be kind of cool.
Looks cool. And they have variable banking there. The bottom of the racetrack banked 18 degrees, the middle 19, and the top 20. So that ought to make the guys want to go up higher just a little bit and catch some more banking.
Problem is, nobody's going to be getting into that part of the racetrack until one of the races, because everybody's going to be qualifying and everybody's going to be down on the bottom until we get a race under our belt.
I don't know. With all the testing that they're going to do there on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it'll be interesting to see. Johnny said they ran the middle lane and the bottom lane in testing. They didn't venture to the very top lane, but he said the bottom and middle lanes, they rubbered in a little bit, and it was fine.
Testing's one thing, but when you're trying to make the field,
yeah,
that's a different line.
That's Ford Championship weekend. Going to be a great fight for the Craftsman Truck Series and NASCAR Busch Series titles right down to those final laps. And of course, we'll see who wins the first Winston Cup race on the new Homestead layout, and whether or not Matt Kenseth's title bid goes down to the final race or not after next weekend's action in Rockingham. A remarkable job. They didn't even start this thing until May, the construction project at Homestead, to take it from the 6 up to the 18, 19, and 20 degree construction project. They were telling me this morning that Frank Stoddard, Scott Wimmer's crew chief, who was down there, said every detail, catch fences, retaining walls, even the safer barriers that are put in, all done, all detailed, all painted. The dirt they've moved has had grass seed put down and started to take. He said it really has been a remarkable job that they've done.
Well, those guys have built that racetrack, what, 4 times now? 3 or 4 times? So they have done everything they could possibly do to make that a great race down there.
And I think Curtis Gray and his crew are to be complimented on getting this job well done. Curtis, good job. Look forward to being down there in 2 weeks.
Let's talk prime time for a minute here. Tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central on NBC. It's a wild new all-female Fear Factor. And then Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, an outrageous stunt Fear Factor, a double dose, Monday and Tuesday, 8, 7 Central, NBC.
You and I and Benny and Weber and Dave and Marty and Matt all go on that. It'll be our show.
A NASCAR Fear Factor?
Yeah.
No, no, I don't want any part of that. Next time, tell me when we're going to see those pictures.
Because when it comes to outrageous stunts and so on, you win.
I think I can win that one.
We give you that, hands down.
You can have it. You won.
Okay, Benny's out. How about the rest of you guys?
I'll buy you a trophy.
Weber, are you in for an all NASCAR crew Fear Factor?
Am I in?
Yeah.
No comment.
You're with Benny, and I'm with you too.
I'm with Benny. You know why?
He's big.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's talk about our leader, Dale Jr. Matty.
And Junior and the Bud guys trying to end the season on a big note, putting a lot of emphasis on the final 3 races. Haven't won a non-player race since Dover 2001, but they also want to try to run the table and gain momentum for next year. They tested Rockingham earlier in the week. He flew down on Tony Stewart's helicopter. When he got there, he went to his locker. He didn't have a uniform. They put the wrong uniform in his locker. He tried out Tony Stewart's uniform from the Gibbs R&D test truck. It fit. He had a lot of race fans scratching their heads wondering, why is Junior wearing a Home Depot uniform? They are second in points. They have never finished this high at the end of the season. That's where they want to end this season to make a title run next year, Bill.
This was the conversation a few moments ago between Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson talking about saving fuel.
All right. I think from this point, buddy, you can just do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
That's before I quit listening to you a long time ago because you kept saying we're good, then we're not good. We're good, we're not good. So I'm after listening for a while. You worry me because I'll live and then, playing that game back and forth, so I don't want to worry in here.
I guess all I'm trying to get at is if you can conserve fuel, conserve it. If you're in danger of losing position, maintain. Or
10-4, that's the initiative that I took, so good deal.
Little defense going on out there right now.
Boy, Kenseth just dove to the inside trying to block the move of Jamie McMurray in the 42 car.
24 to go, back underway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads, Jimmy Johnson second, Michael Waltrip third, Ryan Newman fourth, and now Mark Martin trying to hang on to fifth, getting a lot of pressure from his teammate Kurt Busch. Lap lap cars in the mix. The 0-1 of Joe Nemechek between first and second, and also the 5 car of Terry Labonte between Ryan Newman and Mark Martin.
And Nemechek has tried very hard today to get some of those laps back.
Change of position. A little farther back. Kurt Busch around Mark Martin, and now Ryan Newman underneath Michael Waltrip for third.
Well, there wasn't much room down there either when he went down there.
And here comes Kurt Busch, that 97 car. To win this race, he's going to need another caution flag, but I think that he can run third.
You know what we talked about earlier in the top show, aggressive?
Yeah.
He's got to be aggressive right now.
And I don't think they have to worry about Kurt Busch being aggressive.
Yeah.
There he goes, underneath.
Michael taking that top lane. Here comes Kurt Busch to the bottom, Dave.
And Benny, Kurt used your number. He said, we're a third-place car. We just have to get around these guys.
Well, right now, I believe he is a third-place car if he can get around them, but it's not going to be easy.
And time's running out.
And time is running out. 20 laps to go, next time by.
Here's the race for fourth. Kurt Busch working on Michael Waltrip. Third place, Ryan Newman just ahead of him.
Just can't get on the gas hard enough, Kurt Busch, to be able to make the pass on Michael.
We saw that earlier. Who was it he was under? Spencer? Yeah, earlier in the race where he just couldn't get alongside him enough to get by him.
It's like right here at 1 and 2, you can jump on the throttle real hard, but you need the whole racetrack on the exit.
Terry Labonte's fallen off the pace in the 5 car a little bit. He's fallen to the back of the pack. He was up there among the lead cars just a couple of laps ago.
Man.
And right there, if he jumped on the gas all the way, he'd slide up into the door at 12. So he's got to back off the gas a little bit, try to make another run. Boy, Michael all over the limiter. Rev limiter going into turn 3. Hear the car.
Yeah, that's what his crew chief told me earlier this morning. They were going to run it hard. And hope it lasted.
And hope it lasted, that's right.
Yeah. Michael Waltrip
ain't had enough, sorry, Alan. He looks like he's got a run on him.
So Michael Waltrip, one of those guys hoping to finish in the top 10 in the championship, but he's fallen 152 points back after the engine failure he had in Atlanta last week. Just run here today will help.
Quite enough. Oh, man. It was so close.
Not missing anything up front. Earnhardt Jr. with a clear lead of a second and almost a half on Jimmy Johnson.
And if you're Michael, you want to keep that car up beside of the 97 car Kurt Busch because you want exactly that to happen. You want him to be getting loose underneath you, not too loose to take you out. But.
And look, did you see that battle going on right behind them? Matt Kenseth trying to get by Mark Martin, who's listed as the owner of the 17 car, and he takes that spot away.
Matt Kenseth to 6th from 37th starting spot.
And Kurt Busch finally gets by Michael Waltrip. You know, Mark is listed the owner of the 17 car. I asked him on Friday now, if Matt managed to win this championship, will you sit at the head table as the owner? He said, I declined that invitation. Bill, what do they say in the 17 pit now?
They were just concerned that they were going to really get passed by a bunch of cars on tires. So Matt's really driving the tires off there, having a good run here. By the way, Benny, yesterday Jack Roush told me, you know, I might get a sore throat, I might lose my voice, I might be sick. Mark might have to get up and make that speech if we get it to New York.
I doubt that.
I doubt that, yeah.
And Benny, Mark's reasoning for declining the spot at the head table.
He said, I haven't earned the spot as a driver to be there. I'm certainly not going to go on the coattails of someone else. Oh, trouble. Mike Wallace has spun the 09 car.
Little lazy loop, no caution yet.
Looks like he might get
caution
it going.
Now. Here comes the caution. Man, that's a break for Kurt Busch.
Boy, it is. He keeps
clear. Yellow's out.
Now that might be the break he needs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now you know what record we've just tied?
We broke another record.
Most caution flags in a race. We already broke the record for most caution flag laps here at Phoenix. So that ties the record for most cautions. Mike Wallace, James Finch's 01 car. Let's see what happened. Oh, he Stewart.
Yeah, he's trying to keep off of Tony Stewart. Turn the wheel hard to the left, and he got loose. Spun it around.
Whoa, nice job, Dave Blaney and Ken Schrader.
And also the 38 car, Elliott Sadler barely missed him.
13 laps to go. Don't think we'll see any pit stops here, but we will set up for a wild, wild west shootout to the finish in Phoenix.
Anybody coming? No. Clock still second, third, I mean. Fifth. Having a battle back there, got up underneath him.
You are watching the Raceway on NASCAR in-car on In Demand.
Lead lap car is on pit road right now, the 77. We'll pit this time. Four tires, guys. Just four tires, no fuel. Seven, 5, 3, 2, 1. Hold on, guys. There's a problem over there in the rear. Hold it. Time, plenty of time against the 5. All clear, go. That one to go, because I see him coming up the inside. Brian. Oh no, it wasn't. 10-lap restart rule. Lead lap cars only, single file. The guys that were racing are the 01, 31, and 5, unless they give us somebody our lap back.
Tony Jr. said, your car's better by about a tenth, you'll be fine. He goes, oh, I know I'll be fine. If he's going to get by me, he's going to have to hit me to do it.
and the restart here is very, very critical. I mean, Dale Jr. needs to get a better restart than the 48, because even if it's just a little bit of an advantage, that may make the difference. So
Junior, weave that car back and forth like 48 is. There you go. It's almost like I was talking to him. You see it?
You are.
You got to get all that debris off those tires, so when you charge down in turn 1 at 150 miles per hour or so, the car will stick.
Junior got 4 tires on his pit stop with 99 to go. Jimmy Johnson got 2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. took the lead with 50 laps to go in this race. Now the restart with 9 laps to go. Fans here at Phoenix all coming to their feet, 110,000 plus.
He's got him slowed down.
Here they go.
Didn't fall for it.
Jimmy Johnson right with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Ryan Newman going to make this a 3-way race for the lead.
Okay, Junior, you got to flip that mirror up. Not even look at it.
Like those truck drivers doing Manhattan, right?
Yeah. Kurt Busch back there in 4th, trying the outside lane. Seeing if he can do anything with these front 3. second place to pit at lap 232. Came out 22nd for the restart with 75 to go. He's made his way back to fourth.
Kenseth looking at fifth spot.
Kurt Busch working on Ryan Newman. Here's Matt Kenseth, your championship leader. What a performance today. They have had, for the last month or so, perhaps not run to the standard that they had earlier in the season, but today you can do nothing but tip your cap to them.
Started 37th in that 17 car, and right now is trying to take away the 5th position from Michael Walter.
What a drive for Matt Kenseth, the champion to be, perhaps next weekend at Rockingham. Perhaps.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Bill.
You know, the Roush cars have really struggled the second half of the season, but right now, 4 of them in the top 9 here at Phoenix.
What a day for them. Kurt Busch fourth, Matt Kenseth sixth, Mark Martin seventh, Jeff Burton ninth, and Greg Biffle 14th. Pretty good day for the Roush folks.
And Junior is just kind of pulled away from Jimmy Johnson there. You see that Kurt Busch realizes that the style, I don't think the 12 is not going to give him the bottom of the racetrack, so he's going to try to do it on the outside.
And that's not really where he's been working all day.
I know he's doing something unusual, but he feels like, I guess that's his only shot.
Junior, Johnson, Newman, Busch.
Unless he thinks he can get the 12 loose. Get 3 and 4.
He's got to get there first.
You know, he got pretty close to him getting to the 3 that time.
There you listen to those 4 names I just reeled off and talk about perhaps a changing of the guard in this sport. There was not the Rusty Wallace or Mark Martin or Bill Elliott in that group that's out in front today. But these drivers will be racing for wins for many years to come in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Or NASCAR Nextel Cup racing, as it would be starting next year.
Busch just can't quite get up on that quarter panel of the 12 car.
Well, watch him down in 3 now, BP. Last couple laps, he's been right on the bumper of Ryan Newman. Look at that. Doesn't get much closer than that.
No.
Just not enough.
Run out of time. Just a couple of laps to go, Kurt.
Seemed like Ryan has spent a lot of his day today once he got back in traffic, just fighting and fighting and fighting for spots.
And he's not a guy that you can rattle very easily.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to come to the white flag. A season of what might have been for Jr. Second in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship coming in. If not for 36th and 32nd place finishes to open 2003 in the Daytona 500 and the Rockingham race in February, might he be closer to Matt Kenseth for this championship. 1 victory so far this season. Talladega back in April. He's looking to pick up his first win here at Phoenix in less than a mile. His 4th Phoenix try will result in his first victory. And his 2nd win of 2003, Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning in the Valley of the Sun. Jimmy Johnson, 7/10 of a second back in 2nd. Ryan Newman 3rd. Kurt Busch 4th. Michael Waltrip 5th. And your championship leader, Matt Kenseth, with a 37th to 6th place day. NASCAR Winston Cup win number 9 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He leads 3 times for 87 laps today here at Phoenix International Raceway.
And I'm just thrilled for those guys down there.
Great job on pit road today for those guys. Matty?
Awesome job on pit road. Awesome job on the racetrack. Awesome job all weekend, Tony. Your first downforce win since Dover 2001.
Yeah, you know, we in our meeting the other Monday morning, we said we ain't won a downforce race in over 2 years. And Fab Shop guys, Bruce and Dwayne and AJ, all them guys just work their cams off, try to get these cars as good as they can get them. And this has been one of our good cars, and we've tried to keep it in rotation and run it when we can, you know. So we knew we was good here last time, ran it out of gas, just blew it. It was all our fault. But today, that Budweiser Chevrolet was good. I need to thank Richie Gilmore and all the guys in the engine shop. Had a good engine. We didn't turn it a whole lot today because we were scared after Loudon and we had problems. So we left old high gear in there and just hoping for a finish. And we ended up winning. So good day for the Budweiser team.
Being a little conservative pays off in Phoenix.
That looks like a winning moment to me. How about it? Dale Earnhardt Jr., today's winner. Chevy congratulates Jr. in the number 8 Monte Carlo. Well, we'll tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. More champions depend on Chevy. We'll be there. Jr. getting congratulations from Michael Waltrip's crew, his DEI teammates. While he gets to victory lane, let's hear from the other top finishers today. Marty.
At points, Ryan Newman had the dominant car today, but it looks like all you needed was clean air, Ryan, and you didn't have it in the end.
No, we had a good all-tall Dodge for sure, no doubt. Man, the guys did an awesome job in the pits as well as with the setup. It's our best run here at Phoenix. Another top 5 for the team. Great effort. Just wish we could have won it.
In the last 10 races, 3 wins, 6 top 5s. Dave?
Matt Kenseth today not only got to pad his championship lead, he got to race to the front. Matt, are you excited about that?
Yeah, I'm excited how good a dual car we had all day. It was really good. My pit crew did a great job on the pit road, got me good track position when we needed it, and it was a great day overall. You know, Junior won the race, but it puts us in a real good position with 2 races to go, obviously. So really want to come out of here with the top 10 and get back to running up front. We just missed the top 5 by a fender or so. So overall, it was a great run for us.
Last year's winner finishes 6th. Marty?
Michael Waltrip desperately wanted to congratulate his teammate, but congratulations to you. A nice run, Mikey.
Yeah, the boys did a great job for me, man. We were real confident after yesterday's practice that the Napa Chevy would be good today. It handled well. I had to run up high. I got really tight at the end of the race. What we didn't do well was stay on top of the track. It got cooler and tighter, and we just pushed a little bit too much at the end. But good day for us considering what the last 10 races have been like for this team.
Best ever Phoenix finish 5th. Matt?
After struggling somewhat on the flat tracks, Jimmy Johnson, you and Chad Knaus have that package down.
Yeah, it's been a great year for us on the flat tracks, and what we learned last year here we took on to Loudon this year, and we won both races there, and so close today. I mean, we had a great race car, but just a little loose at the beginning of the run there, and Junior got by me and didn't really have any help with the 01, and just some little situations there. But he was so tough, and we were so equal that I don't think I could have really had anything for him. He had me off of 4, and I could catch him off of 2, but it wouldn't matter. So great day for the Lowe's team, great day in the points, and we're getting closer to Homestead and hopefully a top 3 in the championship.
Jimmy Johnson scores his first top 10 here at Phoenix, a second, Bill.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane, a big smile. Already talked to several of his crew members. This will be a lot of moisture in the air. And just for the record, right now, I'm nowhere close to him. But he just got a little closer to me. And the celebration is underway here in victory lane, and these guys are thrilled. Come here for just a second. Looking for Tony Jr. Hey, you guys, you're excited. Why so excited?
Well, we've been wanting to win one of these races for a long time. Shit's been so long since we won an open race, and we've run so good this year and come so close a bunch of times and finishing the top 5 a lot. And they gave me a great car today. And I could just pass and do whatever.
How about passing the 48?
Oh, well, you know, Jimmy's a clean race car driver. I can race him without really worrying about him making too many mistakes or me making a mistake around him because he makes you comfortable. But his car was just going away a little bit, and mine was good at the end. We were finally good at the end.
And you spent a little time around the 12 car today, too, Dale.
Well, I like Ryan a lot. Regardless of what everybody might think, I like him a lot. He's a hell of a race car driver, but I sure as hell love running into him. He's a fun guy to race hard with. And he can hit me back, just I don't want to end up backwards like he was. That was just a mistake.
Okay, celebration's underway. See ya, Alan.
Yeah, get out of there. Here's how they finished today here at Phoenix. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with his second win of 2003. Johnson, Newman, Busch, Waltrip, and Kenseth. Headline of the day, 37th to 6th, solidifying his championship bid.
Brian Vickers finishes back in the 13th position.
Just going to say, while you look at the rest of the finishing order, let me tell you the championship picture. Matt Kenseth can lock up the title next Sunday at Rockingham if he leaves that race with a lead of 186 points or better. He's got 228. heading into that race. As you look at the championship standings, Kevin Harvick with the big tumble today from third after he got involved in that crash midway through the race at lap 230. So that's the picture. Next Sunday at Rockingham, it could be a championship day in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. We'll start our coverage Friday with Bud Pole qualifying on TNT at 3 Eastern. Then next Saturday, Suzuki presents NASCAR Busch Series racing at 1 Eastern. Sunday, Discover Card Countdown to Green at 12:30 Eastern on TNT, followed by the NASCAR Winston Cup race, maybe a championship day. Dateline NBC and American Dreams on NBC tonight starting at 7, 6 Central. And at Phoenix today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to carry the big trophy away from the Valley of the Sun.